Oh, we're gonna be late.
That's the part that bothers me. Don't imply. Maybe leaving? Yeah. That was one of the most embarrassing things. Yeah, the dog in the 6 points. Well, I was a fair. Oh, I told him, I threatened to stop. They told her when she was in there, she was going to ask for a to kill a monster. And possessed. Many years I said, you know, for Liddy was like, you only come to
I really cut down this summer, so much shame on the time, but we're fooling.
Yeah, yeah.
But if they they'll find a place. Go out there and find the same beaver, you left me with pour it out. In the ground.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Madison County Board of Commissioners Agenda Setting Work Session, January 8, 2024 at 6 p.m. We'll now call this meeting to order, and I'll start off with the chairman's report. The recent fall tire amnesty event collected 66 tons of tires for recycling throughout the county. The inmate roadside crew, cleaning crew collected 17,540 pounds of trash off our county roads, 171 tires during 2023. The Recreation Department Spring Sports registration is now open through January 28th. Late registration will be held January 29th through February 1st. You can register online at madcorrec.com. Recreation Department will be hosting the annual Daddy Daughter Dance Friday, February 9th from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. You can also register on the Madison County Rec Department website. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted December 5th to recommend to the Board of Commissioners to revert the minimum acreage requirement back from 4 acres to 2 acres in the AR zoning district. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted 5-2 to approve. The Planning Department will move forward with the public hearings in February. That's why you're not hearing that tonight. Now, with that being said, business involving guest groups or multiple visitors, Ms. Bobby Rooker.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and share some numbers with you, and thank y'all for the support that y'all showed through the years. It was greatly appreciated. Our Christmas program, which we celebrated our 30th year, for that was a great success, and due to 9 volunteers that volunteered for 125 hours, just the Christmas program. And we served 83 families, 120 children. And with all the toys, clothes, food, and all the other items that they received during the month of December, we estimate the program cost run right at about $60,000. The donations have been excellent this year, and I'm so thankful that God put me in Madison County, because I think it's the best county around. The food bank itself, we served 499 families, 1,353 individuals with food, 68,524 pounds of food. And also families, when they come in, they don't just need food, they need lots of other things. And through the donations that we have coming into our county every day, we have assisted with wheelchairs, all kind of medical walkers, canes, electric heaters. We gave out 2 electric heaters last week. An elderly lady did not have any heat. She was heating her home with the stove. Fans in the summertime, and even a couple of actual air conditioners were donated during the summer. Blankets and coats have been going out with leaps and bounds. So I'm really proud of the food bank. It's in a good place. So I am turning the keys over to Jackie Morris. I would like for her to stand and y'all meet her. I'm going to be listening. She has been volunteering since February. Started off doing 1 day a week and ended up doing 2 and 3 days a week. So she will continue to need y'all's support. I want to thank the county and the commissioner and the chairman for the opportunity to work and do what I really, truly love. God bless. Y'all have a good night.
Ms. Bobby, for the record, I was told that you have 50 years of service in Madison County.
Correct.
50 years of service. I want to run through some numbers real fast. This is just this year alone, 2023. Households, 499 assisted. Individuals, 1,353. Children under the age of 18, 606. Seniors, 65 and older, 209. Cash donations of $84,000. Food donations of over $50,000. Non-food donations, $7,500. Clothing donations at $77,000. Toy donations of $25,700. Ma'am, I'm going to speak to you directly from me. thank you for what you have done, because you alone made our food bank what it is today. There's nobody going to disagree with me.
No, it's the county and everybody helping.
Our county is so grateful to have you at the helm and now being able to turn the torch to the new young lady. You are working with a fabulous county of givers.
I've already experienced that, and it's truly a blessing to how well this county will come to the need of others. And I would just like to say that I am not replacing Miss Bobby, because if any of you have known her for over a week, you know that's totally impossible to do. But Leanne and I will carry on to the best of our ability as to what Miss Bobby has put down in front of us.
Well, you've got a lot of help up here.
I do, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Because he's saying that nerve. Thank you, Ms. Bobby. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you so much, Bobby.
For those of you in the room that's never visited our food bank, I would offer an invitation to you to please stop by and see it. It is an amazing building, equipped with every essential, as Miss Bobby stated, clothing, bedding, food, laundry, electrical, you name it, our county gives to those in need. So thank you. If you can have an opportunity, please stop by. Please do so. Now, any other business involving guest groups or multiple visitors? Hearing none, we're going to move straight into the public hearing and action on zoning matters. First on the agenda, before I read this out, I think it's a consensus cleared by Mike Pruitt that we will take items number 1 and number 2 up, because both is with McAtoo of Woodland Asset Management. And the first is a request to rezone 591.91 acres from A1 to A2/R3, means dual zoning, same parcel, to allow golf course and clubhouse to be constructed and operated on the property, and for the residential development. The property is located at 0 Howard Road in Hull on map 0018, parcel 039 in District 1. Item number 2 reads as a request of a conditional use to allow a golf course and clubhouse to be operated upon to be operated on the property upon approval of the rezone from A1 to A2. The property also is located at 0 Howard Road, Hull, 0018, parcel 039, District 1. Mr. Katu.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry. Mr. Canollis. Let Mr. Canollis come first. I apologize. I was thinking about how the meeting went, so go ahead, sir.
Right. Not a problem. Good evening. As most of you have been involved in this, the public has been involved in this, is a very important decision has to be made. The planning and zoning, as you know, have 7 members, but we had one person to recuse themselves because of reasons, and planning and zoning struggled. We had several motions made, none of them passed. So, with that, there was no one that came forward in the public hearing to speak for this particular rezone request. But we did have some people that came and to express their disapproval or in opposition. There were Linda Potts, David Breen, Gary Harbin, Russell Adams, Drago Taravis, and Steve Quayles. But anyway, we struggle with this one. I've been on planning and zoning for a while. This is the first one that we could not come to an agreement. So, coming from planning and zoning, there was a motion made that we not make a recommendation to you guys that we just put it all on your shoulders. Unfortunately, that's not the way we like to operate, but we didn't have anybody to break the tie. So it's before you tonight, and this is very different from the first request that I saw with a lot of conditions added, and I'm sure Mr. Katu is going to talk about all of that. So with that, I'll turn it over to him.
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
Good evening.
Good afternoon, sir. Good evening, sir.
Thank you all for your time this evening, and I want to start off and say that I feel like a puppy that's gotten a hold of a sock here with this property, and I know I've been driving a lot of people crazy, but a lot of work goes into this, and we're really proud and excited to be in Madison County and to work on a project of this caliber. We put together a set of conditions, zoning conditions that are above and beyond those just standard within the Madison County zoning code. And the way that we put these conditions together is through listening to the residents of Madison County, listening to the IDBA board, listening to economic development, listening to the school superintendent, listening to the volunteer fire department, listening to planning commission, the commissioner's office, planning department, and planning and zoning, and also Sheriff Moore. So I thought the easiest way, I don't know where you guys stand on presentations. I'm sure most of you are probably presentationed out, but I'll be glad to go through the entire presentation one more time if you'd like to see that. We'd be glad to pull up segments of the presentation and speak on those, or I'd be glad to save your time and move on to the conditions that we proposed since the last planning hearing. So I'll leave it up to the board if you want the commission to decide how you'd like to move forward. I think would be the best.
Gentlemen, from my perspective only, the conditions is the most important because that's where a lot of changes has been made.
Right. Since
the public had input last time. There has been talk about, well, in one meeting they said this, the next meeting they said that. So for me, the conditions is the most important at this time, but the board may feel differently. So, gentlemen.
I'm good with conditions. If for the sake of everyone in the room, if you don't mind a quick synopsis, and then get to it.
Okay, absolutely. Well, we've got a site plan up. I don't know if we can.
I don't think I
Turn
can
it.
turn it away to stand in.
Okay.
I can't just turn one.
We've got our site plan up now. This has been a site plan that we've worked on with landscape architects, builders, architects, civil engineer, registered land surveyors, and landscape architects. This is our, I want to say, 5th revision. I think 3rd revision for the county to see, 5 revisions internally. What we're proposing on the 588 acres is a 18-hole golf course with a clubhouse and private club with amenities that include everything from private dining facilities, swimming pool, locker rooms, spa area, potentially gym, driving range, and then obviously we have a maintenance facility building to house golf carts and maintenance equipment. And then we're down to cottages as being a portion of our development, and I'll get into the cottages a little more as we go on. And then we also have what we're calling the community lots as a portion of the development, all with thresholds on maximum number of units we could put on the property. So anyway, it's a lot of collaboration has gone into putting this site plan together with a lot of design professionals' time and effort. And we've done plenty of due diligence on the site, everything from geotech studies to full-blown survey to environmental studies, and then have taken it further and have gone ahead and talked to the design professionals relative to making sure we're going to have septic and we're going to have the water that we need to get this project underway. So if you want me to go any further into details or images, I'll be glad to do that. Okay. Well then, I think the best thing to probably do is quickly go through the conditions and probably stop on the conditions that have been revised since the last issuance and the last discussion a couple weeks ago before Christmas. These conditions are stipulations above and beyond those found just in the zoning code, and they're the conditions that adhere our requirements to the property and our ability to develop this development. So the first one is just relative to the couple of parcels that make up the entire 588 acres, a little bit of a legal description and talking about the surveyors that prepared the legal description. The second is talking about a final survey certified by a Georgia registered surveyor. We have conducted a full survey on the property. We've also locked in a demarcation line that separates the proposed R3 and A2 zoning, A2 being the golf course and clubhouse amenities area, and then the R3 being the residential. Then as for the third section is water infrastructure. So this is a big one that's gotten a lot of attention. So we've committed as owner-developer to provide water to the site at our sole cost in order to meet the standards of the fire flow necessary to protect the homes, protect the clubhouse. But then we've also decided in talking through the IDBA and working with infrastructure needs of Madison County that there's an opportunity to close the loop on that water system, meaning we've got two dead-end lines. They're kind of on either ends of our project, and through the progress of development, we feel that if we close the loop on those two dead-end lines, then we could make for a better overall water system. And so in talks with the IDBA, they said that they're willing to enter into a cost share agreement where we will take on the infrastructure of tying in each end of those dead-end lines and finalize that agreement. Obviously, they're not here to represent themselves, but over the course of the next 15, 20 days, we're going to finalize an agreement with the IDBA board to solidify that cost share agreement that's mentioned here.
Matt, before you move on, just for clarity for the public to understand what we're referring to with dead-end lines.
Yes, sir.
So there's a dead-end line at the EMS station on Highway 106 that's where you'll make the initial tie-in. The second dead end that you're referring to as at the end of Sanford Road at Crabapple Hollow, I think somewhere around Mr. Thomas's residence.
Right.
So that becomes now a loop system, and you're saying that the line will run the length of Sanford Road.
Yes, sir, and it may not be in that exact order because the IDBA is going to dictate it.
Sure.
Somewhat, and then the fire flow test will also dictate it. So, but in simple terms, that's exactly it. Close the loop.
Okay.
Any questions? All right, moving on to item number 4. Let's see here. Okay, this is talking about the need and exploring the idea of turn lanes, and there was some concern about traffic and traffic backing up on Sanford Road or Helicon Springs Road. And so we have a design professional that specializes in traffic engineering, and we are going to commit to installing at our own expense within the county right-of-way the necessary improvements, whether it be just a decel lane or a left turn lane and decel lane. Obviously, the studies will dictate what needs to go there. We've also committed for those improvements to giving right-of-way from our own property if necessary in order to make the width wide enough to make those improvements. Section number 5. Let's see here. Okay, it's just stating that we will develop per the site plan that you've seen up here before you and what you have in front of you. They will be in compliance with that site plan is really all Section 5 is talking about.
And if I can clarify on that exhibit will actually be the applications. So
Yes, sir.
So it's binding the applicants to what was represented here, except to the extent that the initial application's been modified by all these other conditions.
Thank you, sir.
All right, number 6, it's again talking about the site plan and the steps for final plat and having the exhibits. So as Mr. Pruitt mentioned, we'll have a site plan as an exhibit, which is the colored site plan you see, and then the registered survey that we discussed with a demarcation line that's also shown on the site plan, distinguishing which portion of the property is the A2 and which portion would be the R3. All right, number 7 is an important one that was talked about a lot in the planning and zoning meeting, and it's relative to the maximum number of units on the property. I've had conversations with Hall Consulting, who handle the comprehensive plan for Madison County, and in talking with her, kind of came to the conclusion that maybe we ought to just approach it as a maximum density of 1 unit per every 4 acres. And so with that, it took our unit count from 196 down to 147 total maximum units that we would put on the property. Does anybody have any questions relative to the drop from 196 to 147?
Matt, I would like for you to, just for clarity in the room, and to the newspaper, for the ones live and the
Yes,
ones
sir.
that's not here, please explain the 1 residence per 4 acres.
Okay, so that will be overall density. So we have 588 acres. To calculate the density, we've said 1 unit per 4 acres, so 588 acres divided by 4 comes out to a total number of 147 units to create the overall density on the entire tract, both A2 and R3 section.
And when you reference the 4 acres, I know you've distinguished by your map that this is going to remain 1 parcel. Could you please explain, or Mr. Pruitt explain, how we bind from R3 to the A2 condition of number 7?
So the main thing there is one that Mr. Two hasn't got to yet, but that's number 8.
Okay, we'll wait till we get there.
Yeah, basically the A2 portion can only be a golf course, so there can't be residential units there. So that keeps them all on the R3 portion with that overall density.
That's right.
To the totality.
That's right. So Section 8 talks about the uses of specifically the A2 section of the property, which has the golf course and facilities and clubhouse and all the amenities that go along with the golf course use. And then Section 9 is the one that gets the most attention, which is the R3 portion of the zoning. And so we've modified Section 9. Let's see. Actually, it goes a little further into it. So Section 9 talks about the fact that the R3 will be the residential section of the property, which would be, gets into talking about the fact that we cannot start on the actual R3 residential homes until we've commenced construction on the golf course. This was a big line item for the planning board, that they didn't want to see us come in there and just develop all the residential and say, we'll see the golf course, in years to come. The intent is, and our intent's always been, let's get started on the golf course. That's obviously going to create a lot of value in our residential section. And once we start on the golf course, then we can start on the residential, and that would be, getting the permit and getting underway. And then we've limited it to, we can only start with phase 1 of the residential, which would be the first 60 units, is under that section.
Okay.
All right, Section 10 talks about the Mandatory Homeowners Association. This is very important for us because we look at the homes being an extension of the golf course. In fact, in the aspect that when you pull in, we want there to be an architectural theme surrounding the entire 588 acres. And so what we said is there'll be a Mandatory Homeowners Association, and some of the requirements of that homeowners association is that your plans will be submitted before an architectural control committee, and we've limited the homes to having a standard of hardy siding, brick or stone, or a combination of hardy siding, brick, and stone. Also, the landscape design for the individual properties will be submitted to a architectural control committee. And so the theme is to go with native plants, and that way it ties into what we're doing with the golf course as well, and just have an overall aesthetic that matches from golf course to clubhouse through residential units. And then there's a big section in here that came from feedback from residents, and it's relative to rentals. There is a concern that it would just be open to VRBO. And so what we've said is, and this is in the stipulation, so it'll be locked onto the property, that the rentals will be governed by the Mandatory Homeowners Association. With the exception of member-to-member or club-specific rentals, short-term rentals will be prohibited. Long-term rentals are acceptable and must be registered and documented through a homeowners association and property management company. But the intent is, we want some of these residents where a member can rent to another member, say he's building his house or she's building their house, and they want to have somewhere to stay, to meet with their builder and golf. So there can be rentals within the membership, but no outside rentals. So that's the intent there, is to prevent any kind of situation relative to, say, Airbnb or VRBO. Section 11 talks about the fact that, giving some clarity that this is going to be on individual septic or community sewer treatment facility. We've talked with the IDBA. It just does not make sense to go with public sewer in this location, and the capacity is not necessarily there. They've got reserved capacity for commercial projects. And so this is just stipulating that we'll work through Madison County Health Department, and then due to the volume, we'll probably end up working with the state as well, which would be the state EPD. Community lots, so that's section B, which are the yellow lots shown on there on the site plan. And what we've committed to on the community lots is the minimum size of those lots will be 1 acre. And then we've also said that they shall be no less than 2,200 square feet on the home size. Then on the cottages, which is section C, which is in a different color green, this is where we get into some of the number of units being max, having a max on them. So under cottages, we've committed to not exceeding more than 65 total cottages. So we have 147 total units allowed on the property as our max cap. Of that, we can only do up to 65 cottages. And so with the cottages, they'll fall under the same mandatory HOA and also under the architectural control and landscape control. Those units shall be no less than 1,500 square feet. And then we've also put in on the cottages that they will all be detached. So early on when we started and at the town hall, we had some flats that we called them, which were called condos and were called apartments. And we decided in talking with Hall Consulting that let's not go down that path. There's a little bit of confusion with it. We decided let's go all detached across the board. And so it's written in here that will stay detached, and we've eliminated the flats product as well. All right, as it relates to the infrastructure within the community, we heard it time and time again about the concern of upkeep of the roads, and then we heard from even the sheriff that, you know, it'd be nice if your roads were private with gates and, you know, probably limit the calls. And so we went ahead and made the tough decision that we will commit to private roads within the community, meaning we will, have the mandatory HOA take over the maintenance of those roads. And so I don't know if it's the Public Services Road Department, they just won't have to come through the gates and fix potholes or damaged roads. But we will have a utility easement running through on those roads to allow for the IDBA to run their water main, you know, phone, power, Jackson EMC, to run through the community as well. So much like a public right-of-way, it'll just be private and it'll be called a utility easement. All right, for some in the room, I don't know if he's here tonight, but he hit on me pretty hard about number 15, And so I went ahead and committed to the 35-foot mandate that's within the code currently for Madison County for structure height. So we shall not exceed the 35-foot. And then I also took it a step further based on a couple more questions and comments. In the Insurance Service Office Fire Suppression Rating Schedule, there is a note about no building shall exceed 32 feet at the height of the eaves. So from ground to eaves, no greater than 32 feet. So that's straight out of both code books. So we've committed to that, even though it's kind of already part of code. We just wanted to clarify that we're willing to commit to those standards. And then number 16, I don't know if Anna Strickland's here, but we've said Madison County Chamber of Commerce may elect to have an annual golf tournament. Currently, there is not a golf tournament, but we'd love to host a golf tournament. And so we put into our STIPs that we're committed to that. Number 17, commitment's been made to the Madison County High School golf team, and I think maybe Coach Morgan is here, but we're committed to hosting a high school match and having several practice sessions leading up to that, so that the team will get practice on the facilities. Then when we bring in the competition, we'll just have a leg up for our team and, you know, working towards national championships here in Madison County. Number 18 was a late addition, but it's a good one. We are intending to do this anyway. A professionally designed photometric lighting plan will be provided and made part of our land disturbance permit. And this will just take into effect that we must exercise care not to have stray light trespass onto adjacent parcels. So a lot of communities already have that in the code. Didn't see it right off, so we went ahead and added a step based on some comments and questions. And then number 19 is just to clarify, we are providing a lot of stipulations and requirements on this property to move forward with this zoning. So we wanted to have something in here just to protect the property. So it says, if within 12 months of the final rezoning, permit has not been pulled, then this property could revert back to the A1 zoning. So that's also in your code, written a couple different ways, but this stipulation just clarifies it and solidifies it. So like I said, I'm glad to pull up anything on the screen that we have and answer any questions as well.
Any questions from this board at this time? If not, I will open the floor for questions and or comments, which you will have an opportunity to reply to. Anyone would like to start with questions? I hope it's not one we've heard before, but we'll try it, see how this goes for just a few minutes, because we've got a long night.
I'll do it. Do I gotta come up there?
Yeah, please. State your name and reference. Name and address, sir.
What now?
Name and address so we can write it down.
It's Scotty Chathams, 355 Chandler Road, Danielsville. My biggest concern, first thing, it shouldn't be here. Your planning and zoning order come to a conclusion before you get to here. If they can't, they're not doing what you appointed them for.
I understand.
But you're portraying this as a golf course community. I guess what's your target audience, and is every owner there going to be a member of this golf course, or is it actually two separate entities in itself?
So he'll hear the question, but you have to ask us.
Oh.
He'll come back up and answer them.
Okay, well, I'll ask y'all then.
Okay. From my understanding at this time, it is a private course with private homes. I do think, I was told that you could buy a home in there, but you would not have access to the private course. That'll be clarified by Mr. Coutu in just a minute. Any other questions? So we'll answer them all at once.
If you do it that way, who's over control of these rentals? Because your golf members realistically should own all this. If I go buy one of those homes, I don't got to put up no money and no member. I can't afford to be a member there, but I can afford a 2,200 square foot house and rent it out. And I guess that's kind of it.
Any more questions? We'll have them answer them all at one time.
He answered pretty much most of them. And I'm actually for the golf course, I just don't want to run on that road.
I understand. Well, thank you for your input, sir. And Matt, you're welcome to either wait and answer them all at one time. Just go down the list. That'll be fine. Matt, would you like to answer?
Okay.
Sure.
Absolutely.
That way there won't be confusion.
Right, that saves me a lot of writing, for sure.
Okay.
All right, I mean, I'll just say the Planning and Zoning Board had a lot of questions for me, and we worked diligently together, and we had a town hall, and, you know, unfortunately, with one having to recuse himself, it just makes it difficult when you have a split vote, so.
I don't think you have to answer the question about planning and zoning,
Okay.
more of the questions about the actual development. But
All right, as the actual development, yes, it is a private club, private golf course with private membership. We have a stip within our condition letter that states that only member-to-member or club-to-member rentals for short-term, meaning that, you know, somebody's building a house and needs somewhere to stay for multiple nights, and one of the members has already built a house and he could rent or she could rent from that individual. And then we said no other rentals, no other short-term rentals are allowed. All this has to be controlled by the homeowners association because it's important for them to track what's going on within the community, with it being a gated community. And if a member's in there and has too many cars parked in the or parked on the street and needs to be in the driveway or in the garage, they have to know who to speak with. Outside of members that are potentially have bought a home, they will not have the right to do any short-term rentals. Now, we haven't restricted that they couldn't do a long-term rental just for property rights, but they cannot have short-term rentals. So the intent is to prevent any kind of VRBO or Airbnb type situation throughout the development.
does that answer your question, sir?
Not really. I mean, I know investment groups that buy whole subdivisions and lease them out for a year at a time. That is
Okay,
a rental
I understand your
development.
concern. You could give me one second, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is this just a preliminary we're doing before the required for and against?
Correct.
Okay,
That's all this is.
okay,
Just a
so we're still going to
brief-
have,
Yes, brief preliminary.
okay, so there's still gonna be the opportunity for people to come up and speak for and then speak against.
Absolutely. I just given, that's why I said we're gonna do quick, because you got a long night, and just try to catch you.
I understand the short-term rental, I get that, but I got a group of buddies, we buy 65, 80 houses, and we lease them for a year each. All it is a rental property. I mean, it's a good
You want a
investment.
minute to review that?
I think as of right now, I know what he's talking about on rental communities, and I mean, we'd be the first in America to ever have a rental community surrounded by a golf course, but I guess maybe in Florida there could be one, but that is not the intent here, and that's why we are committed to certain levels of architectural control to bring the value of the homes up such that it doesn't really make sense to just buy these to rent out. You know, I don't see investors coming in and buying 50 of these to just rent out, so.
Just for the record, because I know there's been some discussion, I've got phone calls on it,
Mhm.
they're 2,200 square foot, and I heard him just say it.
Right,
I can afford to buy a 2,200 square
Right.
foot. He said he could. The starting price for a 2,200 square foot, because you're not selling the home, you're selling the package to go with it and the
Right.
atmosphere of the golf course. What would you say the starting price for a 2,200 square foot home or a 1,500 foot cottage is, so we can squash this is the normal 1,500 square foot?
right. With the architectural control stipulation in here, I don't see anything being south of like $550 on a sales price, just entry to get in on, say, the cottages. And then the actual community lots, I see those going 8 to well over $1 million. The square footages are to allow for, you know, your initial, maybe build your house, but you haven't built your full garage yet or something like that, just to get something that's, you know, easy to maintain as a second home is the intent.
Any other questions?
I still got one, but, I mean, you ain't gonna wanna hear it, I guess. It's not a golf community if you're not a membership. He just said you don't have access to the golf course if I buy a house. So it's not really a golf course, it's a subdivision that somebody will buy at 550 a house to rent out. You've got to tie the two together, or you're not really doing what you're telling me you're doing. You talk around in circles, but that ain't what's happening.
You'd like to reply to that quickly before we move on?
I think, let's move on to the next questions, and I absolutely hear your concern, but I think, let's move on to the next questions and maybe we address it again.
Any other questions before I ask for a motion to, or pro or con?
Not a motion, we gotta do a vote.
Open the public, yeah, I'm sorry.
I have
Yes, sir.
question, not necessarily a question, but I'd like to present before the board. I have not heard any discussion about revenue. What this will mean, pros or cons. So I'd like for you or somebody to, at least explain to the audience here, you know, how much benefit there could be to us on the negative part.
In regards to that, at this point in the conversation, those are hypothetical numbers. And right now, tonight, that has no bearing on the decision one way or the other. In fact, I would say it would be almost unfair to challenge the applicants to tell us how much you're going to pay in taxes to this county. Because and if I'm wrong, please tell me that.
Well, I'm not telling you you're wrong, Dennis, but I wasn't asking them to tell us. I was asking our people to tell us the projection.
So the only thing I can do there is ask, the property evaluations guy who's only ran rough numbers.
Okay, that's
We
what I
don't
was asking.
know until the project's done.
Correct.
What it is. Roger, would you like to give us a brief?
Well, it's hard to estimate what the tax revenue will be because we don't really know what the cost is going to be incurred in the development. If they have, how many standalone homes were 80 something standalone homes? I mean, if people go in and build $1 million home, that's $88 million right there. Then the cottages, the golf course, the clubhouse, the personal property that goes into all of it. It's really hard to say until we get into that portion of actually valuing the property.
Okay. Does that help any?
I can't say that right now the property's getting about $6,500 a year in taxes.
Mr. Chairman, can I suggest this question thing is probably
We've gone far enough. So, with that being said, we will close the public
No,
hearing.
we gotta do four
I'm sorry.
So now you open it to those who
Sorry,
speak for and then
sorry.
those who speak against.
I'm learning up.
Hey, what if you don't know what you are yet? What if you don't know what you are yet? I don't know if I'm for or against.
I understand. So anyway, is there anyone here to speak in favor of? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record, sir.
Name's Ken Morgan, 111 Apple Palm Way, Colbert, Georgia. I'm the high school golf coach here in Madison County, and I was contacted by Mr. Dimitri Cassini via email, and then we spoke on the phone about the benefits for our high school program. Right now, currently, as a high school program, we do not have a home course in Madison County. We used to several years ago, but now we don't. We are limited to double oaks 1 day a week. There are 4 teams that share double oaks. During the week, we have Mondays, so we have an opportunity to go to that course and practice and play there. And then we go to Highland Walk. So we have to bus our kids up to Highland Walk, which is in the Royston area, if you know, and practice Tuesday through Thursday and sometimes on Fridays, depending if we have weather or use of Friday. So that's our current situation of how we conduct our golf practices. And our matches are played at Double Oaks on Monday or Highland Walk Tuesday through Thursday. This course, and speaking with Mr. Cassini, would allow our kids an opportunity to facilities that they don't get an opportunity to practice and play on. If you've been to Highland Walk as a golfer, you know Highland Walk practice range is on the side of a hill. Golfers need an area where they can find out how far they hit their 9-iron or the driver. It's very hard, you know. So having a place to practice with excellent greens, practice facilities, to host a match, to possibly, as mentioned with the Chamber of Commerce, host a tournament, because golf for us is a non-revenue sport. We don't have tickets and gates. We have to raise the money ourselves with the 20 to 25 kids and their parents that we have in our program. In our middle schools the same way. We have probably 15 to 20 middle schoolers that also practice at Highland Walk. So we have to raise all the funds for ourselves. So anything that this could do for us would be a great benefit to our golfers. To introduce them possibly to another head PGA pro teaching, to help them to have things to, you know, maybe see a next UGA player come through here and then professionally. Mr. Cassini mentioned, you know, the power of some of the UGA players, Bubba Watson and some others that may come back and help out with programs like a First Tee, something like that that could benefit our high school golf program. Not speaking to any of the development, but simply the golf course in our county would allow our golfers hopefully access maybe a day a week here or there through the months of February, March, and April when our golf season is taking place, to have the opportunity to make our program better and maybe get a kid involved through the First Tee program that would not be able to, because golf, as you know, is an expensive sport. It's several $1,000s to outfit a kid with clubs and everything they need. So, you know, for our area, this would be a benefit for me as a high school coach to help our kids progress. And they have assured me in writing that they would allow us access. And not all the time, I know this is their members take priority, but we're only out on the course 4 o'clock to 6 around dark afternoons for school, so it wouldn't be, you know, invading their place, but maybe a day to practice, host a match, which would be awesome. I know that Prince Avenue, Athens Academy are allowed at HTC to come out and host tournaments. We're involved in 2 there with Vicky Getz Invitational and the Ed Horde Classic. They're going to be great for our kids to play a great course. And this is supposed to be an excellent course. And just to have that opportunity for our kids to get better would be great. So thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Yes. Anyone else here to speak in favor of it?
Yeah, I do. Oh. I'm like him, I'm all for it. I play golf. My daughter does. The golf course is great. Madison County needs it. I mean, I'm 100% for it with the right stipulations. But if you pass it, add one more stipulation. Let him build this golf course first. Don't break ground. Put your money where your mouth is. I mean, that's 100% will solve all your problems, and he'll do what he presents if he ties up $40 million on a golf course.
Thank you. Anyone else here to speak in favor of it?
So I'm Frank Strickland, 8962 Milford Road, Hull, Georgia. And I spoke at the first public meeting we had. I didn't get to the family and zoning, which I'm sorry. I should have. But, you know, I've lived in this county all my life. And we need something other than chicken houses and rooftops. We've got enough of those already. And if you look at the revenue, I was sorry to hear they reduced the number from 197 to 146. Because you take $500,000 houses, you're looking at $250,000 in tax revenue a year for the county that we just voted or agreed to give away. The first design I thought was great. And I'm a golfer. I love golf. And I've looked into the history of Madison County. We don't have a good history of selecting businesses. I referred last time to the cold storage that got turned down in Hull, about 25 years ago. And now we're looking at a beautiful golf course and a beautiful resort. And I would be honored to tell people, yeah, the Rose Hill Golf Course is in Madison County. And I'd hate to bow my head and say, no, we turned it down. I'm sorry, we don't want that kind of a development in Madison County. We want chicken houses and rooftops and subdivisions. And of the 32,000 people in Madison County, this will benefit each and every one of them by reducing the tax dollars. Each and every one of them.
I want to make something real clear. Never made a statement that this will reduce any tax dollars, but it may offset the tax increase for a period of time. Just be clear. I can't make promises.
And I didn't mean everybody's taxes gonna
I
be
just want to
lower.
be clear for the record.
In 10 years, those 32,000 people will be paying less tax than they would be without.
That's a clear statement.
Okay. Right. Thank y'all.
All right, thank you, sir. Next, yes, sir.
Chairman, Commissioners, my name's Harry Rice, 3215 Rogers Mill Road, Evansville, Georgia. I've been listening to a lot of things said out of here, a lot of things in the paper that go both ways on this. Online, it's just outrageous, the different angles that come out of this. But speaking in favor of this, I can see what this will add to the county. People always complain, we don't have any businesses, we don't have any place to go eat. Guess what? You get something like this in, at least the southern end of this county is going to develop a little bit more than it is instead of going up around Kroger. We may get some businesses out of that. And I don't play golf, but I can see how this can help the county in the long run. And the one thing that they did add that I'm glad, and that was one big concern that I had, was short-term rentals, vacation rental by owners. 5 Points in Athens is going through a fight on that right now. People buying those houses, renting them out, they'll say it got a 2-3 bedroom, and then they have 16 folks show up for a ball game parking in the yard. And then you go up to places like Highlands, Franklin, same thing. From what he tells me, or what he said tonight, that will not affect us. And we don't need that. If they want to do that, hey, go to Oconee County. But I'm going to speak, yes, I'm in favor of this.
Thank you, Judge. Anyone else in favor of? Yes, ma'am, you can.
Cynthia Fortson, 34 East Avenue. And I know that you guys have a tough decision to make here. You have gotten the same emails and the same things that we have gotten as a P&Z committee members. And it's a tough decision, but look, stop here. We didn't have to make that decision, but we tried to recommend. But what I'm saying is, I know all the concerns that everyone had about pollution, water, and everything, and I think that Mr. Coutu and his family members pretty much addressed everyone that we had, or the people had, the public had. And I did my own due diligence and went out and investigated the EPA, or the sheds, watershed, and all that, to help me make a better decision on this project. And I know we want to preserve things, and it's okay to preserve, but we can't be stagnant, because stagnant water gets murky and you can't see through it. And we need to be able to see our way through to moving this county forward. And that means sometimes people have problems with transition, and it's hard to transition. But I think everything they have went a bit beyond what they could to help people feel comfortable with what we were saying, what we were asking them to do. And they tried to fulfill everything that we asked in order to help this project go forward and to help the county. So that's what I'm asking my commissioners and the people on this board, that, you know, to be a Peter and step out the boat.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is James Otis Riley, 1620 Wilson Bridge Road from Homer. Not a resident of Madison County, but my folks on this side of the deal are the sellers. And I've been in commercial real estate my entire life. I've been a broker for the last 11 and a half years. I started my life as a commercial appraiser, have a background from the University of Georgia in real estate degree. So I've seen a lot of developments, I've seen a lot of projects, I've touched a lot of acreage. And what I really feel like what you guys have here for Madison County is a true opportunity for a little bit of a unicorn here. A lot of developments that you have brought for you here, there, everywhere, lots of times they really do tax the county or the city or whatever the community is, whether it be through students in schools or emergency 911, you know, the list goes on, water, sewer. It's sometimes it's a tough thing to really consider how it is truly a benefit to the folks around you. I do feel like this is, again, a little bit of a unicorn because this development is going to be putting more into the county than it is going to take from the county. I feel like they've done a tremendous job in trying to protect others around them from it. They put up buffers. They seem to be bending over backwards with these conditions that have been asked for them. I think out of their own mouth from several of the folks from the Planning Commission and in the community, it feels as though they've gone above and beyond what's been required of them to hopefully put everyone at ease and really hopefully show how this could be a benefit. I know it was brought up about the tax revenues and how low the basis is with this property being under the CUVA conservation agreement. Whatever the taxes are that come off of this, I know there would be no comparison what the county will receive over the life of this versus if it were to stay just an ag tract. And they recently had the timber cut off the property and thinned, and there's no reason it couldn't continue to be that down the road. But at the same time, you've got, if I'm not mistaken, I looked at the taxes over the last several years, and they've actually gone down to the county. I believe this past year, I believe Mr. Robin was correct, and it was $6,500. I think 3 or 4 years ago, maybe it was almost $7,000. So you're losing tax revenues in, you know, with the property staying like it is. I know we could do chicken houses on this property, but I think, again, those things would probably go back into the conservation, and then you, again, have the diminished potential tax returns to the county. So, again, I think what we have here, and I say this lovingly, I live on a family farm in Banks County. We've got 350 acres. I don't play golf. I'm more of a skeet and shotgun kind of guy. I like to deer hunt. You know, this is something, if it was going next door to me, I'd be okay with. And we've sort of kind of gone through that. Our personal experience, we've got a North Georgia Church of God camp that's beside us. I can't help but think that these fellows have run it exceptionally well. They've been more than professional. They've been a great group of folks to deal with. And as good as that facility is that we have next door to our home place, it brings in nothing to the county because it's a religious facility. So you've got an opportunity to really capitalize on getting some tax revenues in here for something that will help beneficial growth with what I believe would probably be minimal change to the area. I'm not saying you would never know it's there, but I can't help but think that it's really going to be something that y'all can be proud of. And I think at the end of the day that it's something that could be a true benefit to everybody. So,
thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Anyone else speak in favor of? Yes, sir.
This is not working technology. Bad seat there. Got where I can hide. Rodney Chandler, 25801 Autry Road in Danielsville. I do rise to speak in favor. I appreciate and respect you all and the difficult job that you have. I feel like I sit in a spot where I can see both sides of what has been a hot issue. I'm involved with economic development aspects of things. Lots of my family are in agriculture, and I appreciate Madison County that I was raised in. So it's yet another reason. I tease Terry often how I'm glad that he's the commissioner and not me. This is a hard decision because it's a serious, what I deem to be a very serious proposal that on one hand it's serious and it's meaningful, but it does fall a little bit outside the comprehensive plans area for denser development. So how do you balance those two things? A serious proposal that I believe the good probably outweighs the bad, but we have the other side of it being outside the plan. So As I have weighed and done a good bit of my own investigation, I feel like that for me, the scales tip in favor of it, and I support it. There's some very serious stipulations that have been listed, which I think are important, and I, for one, feel comfortable trusting the county staff to fairly and appropriately implement those stipulations so that they're held to what's here. Glad I'm not y'all, but here's a vote in favor.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else to speak in favor of? All right, before moving on, I'm going to read I'm not going to read the letters of support, but I'll give you the names of the emails we received for letters of support, and I will do the same thing in opposition. Jake Westbrook, retired Major League Baseball player, Madison County resident. Al Parker, Managing Director of Morgan Stanley Private Wealth Management, founding member. Scott Kingsford, part owner, Sage Valley Golf Club in Aiken, South Carolina, founding member. Jim Douglas, head coach of the University of Georgia golf team. Otis Riley, senior vice president, that spoke just a minute ago, with Goddard Real Estate. Clint Boiling, retired NFL, former UGA Bulldog football player, possible future member. Drew Butler, former UGA punter, possible future member. And Mr. Ansley III, I can't pronounce the first part. Bonell, okay. Ansley Real Estate. That was the letters of recommendation. They are attached, and I will do the same with oppositions in just a second. Now, with that being said, anyone in opposition that would like to speak?
I'm jumping up to follow Mr. Chandler because I feel like he and I have been kind of on the same page. Looking at the comprehensive plan, thinking about this being a great thing. I have a member of the school golf team. He's in middle school right now, Coach Morgan, but hopefully we'll be with Coach Morgan. I like a lot of the stipulations that I've heard. I feel like you're trying really hard to make your vision match our vision for Madison County. I have kind of come down as I'm weighing on the opposite side. I have looked at this and said this piece of land is not in the zone in the comprehensive plan. It's right outside. You know, is there wiggle room there? But when I look big picture, so I stepped back and said, what's the big picture in the comprehensive plan? Not just the map, but what's the big picture? What's the vision? What did it talk about the community wanted? Big picture. And so just for everybody else, I'm sure y'all could quote this. But the vision, the big vision, the citizen's vision focuses on the desire to maintain the county's rural and natural qualities by preserving agriculture and environmental resources, which a golf club might would do. However, industry and business growth, infrastructures, and residential development should be directed into cities and other planned development nodes, thus allowing economic growth that can support services needed by residents. So when I look big picture, there's no city there, no infrastructure right now. I know y'all are going to add some. The big comprehensive plan said this type of residential development would be more concentrated in areas where it's a city or there's infrastructure for it, not on the Sanford Road. So I have kind of landed on, I really don't think it matches the vision. Whatever y'all do tonight, I want you to hold these guys to what they just said. It's not in the stipulation exactly what Coach Morgan said. One match and a few practices is not every week. And as a parent, I have been with my child at the Athens Country Club when we played there. I'm not allowed to ride in the golf cart. I can't go in and eat at the restaurant. I want to be treated like a first-class citizen if my child is playing there. What's your name, ma'am? Amanda. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Ken Branion, Charlie Bolton Lane. Has anybody thought about the infrastructure? The fire departments that volunteer?
Yep.
HUD don't have but 12 members. They're going to be backing up East Sanford. And how many of y'all would go in and burn in buildings? I've done it for 25 years.
I will. But yes, but that's all been considered. The fire chief is here with the IDA, fire chief from East Sanford's here. All that's been discussed as far as the infrastructure needs to adequately provide services to that residence. Yes, sir.
That's one concern, because These volunteers are doing it on their own time.
So are you in favor of or in opposition?
Opposition of it.
Okay.
Because these fire departments have to go out here and do chicken barbecues and fundraisers to get stuff.
Okay. I understand, sir.
And that right there, me, would put a real stress on them if they was to have a couple of three, spread out, because, these ain't a small county.
Yeah. I understand. Thank you, sir.
Because I've been around some of them subdivisions and it ain't no easy thing.
I appreciate it. Anybody else in opposition? Yes, sir.
Good evening, gentlemen. Steve Brown, 5825 East College Road. I'm in opposition. Main reason is that the golf course is somewhat okay, but it's just a disguise to have a huge subdivision in the middle of an agricultural area. A lot of people already spoke about how it would impact the area, not just Stanford Road, but all the adjacent roads leading from Commerce into Athens and back and forth. I don't see how this could even be a viable thing to do here in Madison County. The closest airport to fly people in is about an hour and a half from here. I don't know what world-class golf course is going to be an hour and a half.
One in Athens.
There is one in Athens.
So let's stay on topic.
That's great. That's great. There is one in Athens.
Stay on topic. Oppose it for what reason?
I'm opposed because of the fact that it is a disguise just to have a huge subdivision in Madison County with that amount of homes concentrated in one area. It will open the doors for other people to come in and say, hey, they want to build just like what these guys did, and you're going to have no choice but to allow them to do it. And they'll sue you like they did in Overthorpe County. Come on. We're all not born yesterday, okay? So I'm opposed to it, and I'm also opposed to if the fact that they will put a golf course in because of all the environmental issues that are associated with golf course and the wetlands surrounding the golf course immediately beside the golf course. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Anyone else in opposition? Yes, sir.
I'm Russell Adams, 1799 Stanford Road, and I'll tell y'all, that's my brother.
Yes. Couldn't tell by looking at you.
I will say Mr. Catu's presentation tonight was better and more thorough than the ones at the planning and zoning. Answered some questions. My biggest issue, living less than a half a mile from there, is still the sewer issue. My house is on 2.5 acres, and in the last 20 years, I've had to have 2 sets of septic tank lines dug, and I can't dig anymore. And in one of his prior presentations, he mentioned that wells would be an issue there because of the good water table. Good water table means you got poor drainage. That's just a fact of life. And 1 acre lots, especially with the size houses they are planning to build, you leave no room for error. Either it works or it don't, and then what do you do? And one of the main things I'd like for y'all to consider is, in our community, this board had to straighten out a mess from a previous board with the Seagrace Mill down. Cost the county hundreds of thousands of dollars because the board didn't do the study. Mr. Catu sounds like he has done a lot of homework. What I'm asking is y'all do y'all's own studies to make sure that whatever he wants is feasible to do. Because it's not up to him to make everything perfect. It's up to y'all basically to protect the county.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Good input.
Anyone else? He is my brother.
I really said that after I said it was good.
It's like the guys on the front row. You don't have to go far to check the
Now, why is Denny willing to claim his brother and Terry didn't claim me? I'm confused.
He was reading, sir.
You're pretty perceptive there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Donna Gover. I'm at 1501 Stanford Road, and I
I'm one of the property owners. I have two questions for Mr. Katoon, and then the rest is to the commission board. You're gonna be a gated community, but are you going to entirely fence in that community?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the other thing is, what are the estimated county costs for the IDA plan? That wasn't addressed, it said it was gonna be discussed and potential what estimates might be there.
What's your question one more time?
What are the estimated costs for the IDA
Okay.
portion?
So at this point, we're not there yet. That normally comes under plan review. This is the rezone part. From what I read in the STIP letter, this development will bring the water line adequately sized to their property to feed their homes. They have agreed to extend that water line the rest of the way up Sanford Road. If the county chooses to upsize the water line versus an 8-inch minimum, the county would pick up the tab for the difference in the funds.
My other question for Mr. Couture also is, he planning to make aware to his potential buyers that the water system is not a full treated water plant, it's only treated at the well through the whole system, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. And that's common. Most wells are treated at the well before it goes through the system.
Yeah, but most people in this high dollar market are gonna be looking for treated water through treatment plant.
Okay, so there's a misconception. So the houses and the cottages will be served from municipal water, IDVA water. The golf course will operate off of wells.
Okay, all right. And then these are for the commissioners. Ms. Sailors actually answered my consistency with a comprehensive plan. As I see, it's not completely comprehensive outline. The other thing is, how is this not out of scale for the Sanford community? I don't mean Madison County, I mean Sanford community. I'd like the commissioners to answer that. I'd like for the commissioners to think about this. Put everything equal, neighborhood, topography, sewer concerns, natural water sources, etc. Would you vote for this rezoning in your district? Think about your constituents.
Are you asking that question directly now?
I want y'all to, those who are voting, I want you to think about this before you place your vote.
Thank you.
The last thing is, those of you that are potentially voting for, except for the increased tax base, exactly what has been presented regarding community and county residents' concerns has led to your potential vote to still be cast for. What changed your mind to vote, or didn't change your mind to vote against it?
That question will probably be answered after the fact. I don't know whether they'll answer it prior to, because they haven't know how they're going to vote as of yet. Just so you know.
Okay.
Now, you want to try to answer some of those? Could you directly ask the board?
No, we need to just let them speak.
Okay.
And then,
All right, that'll be fine.
Then I'll come
We'll come back.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else? Yes. Well, that's a head knocker there.
I'm Michael Purdue. I live in, I live about 5 miles from here, from that proposed development. I spoke last time and I swore I wasn't going to say anything tonight, but I'm going to. C, as I understand it, those are the cottages? Okay. I don't know if y'all have ever been on Sanford Road at 7:30 in the morning. I don't know if you've ever turned to the right to go to Athens, to go to work. But if you do, there's not a stoplight to get on 106. There's a kind of a stop sign that people sometimes slow down at. And as they turn right, they go by a whole Sanford Elementary, and they kind of pick up speed as they're going, because it's also known as the Madison Clark Autobahn. People go fast. They don't slow down. I haul hay. I haul cattle. I haul meat. I haul my wife. One day, hopefully, I'll haul grandkids if the cards are there. I don't want to have to worry about 147 people, individual people, a golf tournament, or however many cottages are going to be there in Section C, dumping out onto that road. And I don't know if you've ever been down Helicon Springs Road in the afternoon, because if you're coming from Clark County, going back the other way, trying to not get on the bypass and miss all that traffic, where you can get rear-ended there at Hull, at Ingles, at Dogsboro, Ingles grocery store, you know, where people turn right in front of you, where people have died. You know, I like to go a shortcut. And if you go Helicon Springs, you'll see that people run down that road about 70. It's 45. And school buses stop there, Athens, Clark County, and Madison, Clark County. And there's a gentleman, actually, there are 3, that ride horses on that road every afternoon, if it's a good day. And if it's a real good day, they jog them up the road. And they're beautiful horses. But they manure everywhere, and cars stop. I'm concerned that there's no egress, there's no ingress, and even if they cut one from the main road, it's zoned agricultural for a reason, because it's an agricultural lot. There's no infrastructure there. Even if they put it there, it's not there. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, buddy.
All right. Anyone else in opposition?
My name's Steve Forbes. I'm here on behalf of my elderly parents. They live at 357 Carruthers Road. I ain't got no questions. I just got a comment. Everybody in Sanford community loves Sanford as it is. This total golf course, housing complex, or whatever, is going to change every aspect that we know of our community. And it's never going to change back. It is in a rural setting. Farmers and chicken houses and cows was here before the golf course. Everybody that lives here apparently is okay with farming. So it shouldn't be a big deal. Just think about, all I say is just think about the families that live in the community and already have roots there and don't want to change.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? All right. Oh, one more. We're speaking in opposition.
I'm going to abstain, but I would like to say something before you close.
Oh, okay, sure.
So I'm Adam Arnold. I'm the chief of the East Sanford Volunteer Fire Department. I want to say thank you for all the hard work, sacrifices, changes, additions that have been made. I feel both ways about it. Not to get on the soapbox, but I see the fire side and I see the Sanford community because that's where I'm from. I love agriculture. We have a farm. It is sacred. I will say that there's been a lot of thought, consideration going into this whole project. I do think there's still more work to be done. The preliminary plot meeting that I had to do a lot of research and learning on my own about this. And through all of that, I understand that this is to get it rezoned, and then the rest will come to follow. Is that correct?
There's a plan review would follow, yes.
So from a fire service point, there's been a lot of things, questions, and I appreciate your patience. Ask about the fire service protecting the citizens of our area, which would be Sanford and East. And that's dear to my heart because I grew up in a fire truck. As a little bitty boy, that's all I've ever known is giving and serving. On one half, you have thoughts, opinions, promises, and ideas that are great. On the other side, who knows what could happen with a future meetings. So I'll leave you with this. Thank you for giving an opportunity to the county. Whether you agree or you disagree, it's beautiful. Is the land could be used for something else? I don't know. With a lot of work, you could probably grade it out and you can make it farmland. With the swamps, with the runoff from the golf course, is that economically friendly? I don't know the answer to that. With the research and the information that we could get beyond tonight, maybe you could have some answers. But I just want the board to understand, East Sanford appreciates each and every one of you. And from the fire department standpoint, we're not asking for anything other than the safety of our citizens, the safety of our community, and the safety from all of the areas that we do. I appreciate the gentleman speaking about Hull. Yes, we're going to need all the help we can get. But I also have the faith that the board, if you decide to do this, will be in the best interest of the fire department and the community And I think, what they have exhibited already speaks volumes if they'll follow through. So I ask you to follow through if it does get voted in, and we'll adapt and overcome. If you don't vote it in, be okay with that too, and we'll remain Sanford. We'll be just fine.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else in opposition? All right, hearing none. We're gonna close the floor, bring it back before the board.
Rebuttal?
Oh, rebuttal. Is there anything you'd like to reply to?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm sorry.
As I said in the beginning, thank you all very much for the time and consideration. I know this hasn't been easy. One thing I do want to say, as is mentioned a couple of times, I am one of the founding members, and I'm committed to this project, but this isn't Matt Catu's project. We have a team that's working on this project. It's more than just me. I'm just the spokesperson to stand up in front of everybody, but we've got a civil engineer, we've got a licensed surveyor, we've got golf architects, we've got landscape architects, we've got geotechnical engineers, environmental consultants, land planners, and then we have our founding member team, which is involved in every facet of business, and they've been successful at the businesses they've chose to undertake. And so we think that team is going to make one heck of an opportunity for this golf course and this private club, but also a great opportunity for the county. I know there's a lot of concern over what's this going to cost the county. We've tried to take those concerns out. This stipulation letter stays with the property. These are more than just handshake deals. This is in writing and binding. So what we've set up here, we're committed to. And if we were to get hit by a train on the way out of here, I don't know where the closest train is, but if we were to get hit by a train, these stipulations would stick with it. It's not just because I'm involved. So I just wanted to clarify that. I know there was a question relative to the fencing. This is a large track. You know, I'm not certain that we're going to fence the whole thing, especially like down by the creek. I don't know that it makes sense to fence that, but we're just going to kind of play it by ear, honestly, and see how things go. And then if the board has any additional questions before I sit back down, I'll be glad to answer them. One thing I will say is this project is a legacy building project for all of the founding members. And so I don't see them being behind such a project that is going to be a fly-by-night, sell it off to somebody, rent it out to hundreds of people opportunity. This is something that they are looking to enjoy and be proud of. And I think we've shown that over the course of the last several months. And honestly, I don't know what else we could have done to prove that we're here to work in Madison County and we want to bring a quality development to Madison County. And I reached out to almost everybody I could and answered questions for everybody that had them. So anyway.
Mr. Catu, I will say after 5, 6, 7, 8 meetings between Chamber, IDBA, before us, before P&Z, before town halls, well, how the vote goes, I have no idea yet, but I can tell you that you have done your legwork. To you guys, it's a lot. We've dealt with a lot of developers over the years. Mike said the same thing. The council said the same thing. Most willing group I've ever seen to get this. But that's all I'm going to say about it. And I did promise the public in opposition, I would let you know, we did have 2 emails come through. Drago Tasanovich spoke against, and Lee Adams spoke against. That was the 2 oppositions. So just so everyone knows. With that being said, gentlemen, we'll close the floor and we'll entertain a motion on this rezone.
Make a motion this rezone be denied.
I have a motion for denial by Commissioner Adams.
Got a second to the motion.
I have a second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen?
I would like to say that I appreciate all of the public comment. I've seen the email, the Facebook post, the text messages, the phone calls, talking with a lot of people in person. and also appreciate your efforts to be good neighbors and to try to accommodate us as much as possible. I see this golf course as a great opportunity for Madison County. Yes, we'll receive tax revenue from it, but in my opinion, more importantly, is the opportunity to show the retailers outside of Madison County that we're open for business. Looking at the comp plan, looking at the map, this is literally across the street from the South Madison County character area. South Madison County is defined as, or planned to be, primarily residential and commercial retail growth. Right next to that is Dogsboro, where Ingalls and all that is. Again, primarily retail growth. Moving over to Highway 78, the whole Culver corridor is planned to be primarily an economic development activity corridor, mixture of industrial and commercial development or office-related uses is recommended for this area. And I just see this opportunity turning on the open signs in Madison County, letting people know that we're open for business, that we are agreeable to have business in Madison County. And like Judge Rice said earlier, people might see, businesses, retailers will see that these people who move into this neighborhood, as the people of Madison County, need restaurants to eat at, places to go and shop, places in the county for us to spend our money rather than having to go outside and go to Athens. So I just see this as a great opportunity for us for employment within the county, for economic development within the county. And it's a little bit scary, but it's also exciting to see what the future of Madison County could be. When we look at our comp plan, use it as a guide for development, and with careful consideration and planning, we could really do a lot here. So that's all I got to say.
All right, any other discussion, gentlemen? Yes, sir.
This is not so much for the audience because many of you wouldn't recognize this. This is a comprehensive plan, the comp plan, that this Board of Commissioners, we didn't inherit this from anybody. We worked with Hall Consulting, and this was put together through a tremendous effort on the part of Hall Consulting, the Board of Commissioners, a steering committee, and county, and I believe there was 11 or 12 meetings where public input was incorporated into this document, and it was seen as a vision for where we wanted to go as a county. I'm going to read two paragraphs from this with the permission of the Chairman. One is from policies. This is on page 46. Focus growth into designated character areas while respecting the historic content, and for something, for me, that's very important here, a sense of place. This is our home. Sanford is our home. Rural atmosphere, an overall setting of Madison County. On page 47 then, under strategies, how do we accomplish that? How do we get to what we just stated here? New development should be focused in areas with existing state roads, within incorporated areas, and near existing and planned wastewater service. Danielsville, Colma, Carver have existing wastewater treatment facilities, which is a bit of an error because Carver does. The other two municipalities do. The county should coordinate any expansion of utilities to serve the industrial areas identified in the future character area map with existing providers. Additionally, the county should plan to provide wastewater treatment facilities or expand existing treatment facilities in the South Madison character area to serve the denser development pattern. In any sense of the word, this is a major subdivision. This is the largest single project that has, to the best of my knowledge, ever been proposed for Madison County. This project, in particular, challenges us as the leaders, chosen leaders of this county, to determine whether it fits. And the answer to that, in my mind, with all due respect, is no, it doesn't. We have heard repeatedly how we needed, in this county for 3 years, how we needed affordable housing to accommodate the people that are currently in our county. And respectfully, again, there's nothing resembling affordable housing associated with this project. We've heard tonight how there's the potential of tax dollars to grow in the county. The numbers that have been shared all are dependent upon the build out of the entire development. I do not see that happening because in an email shared through this group where there were, I believe, 5 country club golf communities shown, there were several, in fact, all of them, none showed build out of the properties. There were several lots that drew the minimum tax. And I recall, I didn't come from your office, I believe. But it showed the minimum tax on those lots. So that's something that is potentially out there. And here again, recognizing the work that Matt, the partners have put together is greatly appreciated. But then I will go back just for a minute to reinforce what I said. When this was presented to the Zoning and Planning Committee, which is an auxiliary group to the Board of Commissioners to make recommendations based on the information that they have provided. It took 3 votes to get it to the point where it was a no vote. Now, is that right or wrong? Or no recommendation vote? Let me clarify that. It was a no recommendation vote. Is that right or wrong? That's up to the bylaws of that committee, which, to me personally, challenges this board to determine why we would structure a committee in such a way that we could end up with 2 ties instead of a tiebreaker, But that's a conversation away from this development. But what I do know is, based on the work that we as a county have put into this document, in my opinion, and I'm one of opinion of just like everyone else in this room, it doesn't. Now, could it someday? Perhaps. But today, to the tune that we recognize that we've got deficiencies in our zoning and planning, we have contracted with a firm called CPL, who I believe Matt is familiar with too. They're based in Swanee, to help us bring our ordinances up to date and in line with what they should be. And there was even a suggestion in the P&Z committee that perhaps we needed to use an outside resource to help us with that. That was one of the items that was voted down. Here again, in my opinion, this is too much, too soon. We are not prepared to do this. Respect. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just want to make a comment. I guess since everybody else is sort of making one. I look at this somewhat in deference to what Dennis is saying, that when you look at the comprehensive plan, and you look, this is right on the edge of it. I guess when we looked at the comprehensive plan, and I was doing all that analysis and all the input that I had and all those kind of things, I didn't realize that maybe we had an opportunity like this with something that, in my opinion, is sort of agricultural, and also, I would agree, it does have the housing portion of it, you know. But I look at it as almost one of those things that is a transition. And I think it's a good transition. I think that it gives us an opportunity to transition that area into the other areas where, as you elaborated on, the retail areas and all those kinds of things. And I won't go back to all that. But that's one of the reasons that I would support this, is because of the fact that I believe it's a good transition. I think it's an opportunity that I never thought about that we would have here in Madison County. And I'm sort of thankful that it was brought to us here, and I can see why y'all would bring it here. I think we have a great community, and I understand there's a lot of folks that don't agree with me on this, but I think that if this is done, and it's done, and we try to put those stipulations in place, we've worked, Mr. Katu and all have worked with us to put some things together that we think that make this project even better than it was first proposed, then I think that it's something that will be good for Madison County and will be good for the Sanford community in the long run. You may not see that, but that's my belief. So that's where I'm at with it. I wanted to explain that. And so I'm, that's where I'm at.
Thank you, sir. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, my opinion, the way I looked at it when it was first proposed. I felt like it was too much. There wasn't the restrictions on the number of units. I was adamantly opposed to the flat concept, which may have set a precedence for some sort of type of apartment, whether the road being in the name still. The cottages being now a separate unit. I had, prior to even the applicant coming up, I'd set my own, in my mind, right or wrong, if I don't agree with something, I think I should ever get to where I could articulate something I could support. And one of the defining components that I felt strongly on was similar to Commissioner Kirk. It's right on the line. So if it's a transition zone, it's a transition zone. And what would be appropriate in a transition zone? And I settled on our AR definition, which is one unit per 4 acres. And I looked at it a little further and at the components of, this is a large tract, even though it's a golf course, a large component, a large percentage of this tract will be green. There'll be a golf course, but will be green. And so with the maximum density of 148 or 70 units over 600 acres, or at roughly 600 acres, and then there's a business component that is low infrastructure needs, and we talked about that, attracting those businesses. And with the stipulation letters that's been worked through, and again, it's 148, 9 units, 147 units on 600 acres with the golf course, with the stipulations that's been put in. And I even added I'm the one that requested, making sure the photometrics were in there, and that was a last minute add. So with that said, with the presentation that's here, the stipulation letter that's in there tonight, I plan to support that recommendation. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for a substitute motion to approve with the stipulation letter that's been presented.
All right.
Wait a minute, I had to have my turn.
Yeah, I was coming to you. Thank you, sir.
And this has been a hard one for all of us, and I appreciate all of you that are here tonight, particularly for this, and all of the phone calls, and emails, and texts that all of us have received, that we've sent back and forth. In the conversations I've had with Mr. Coutu, the challenge for me, personally, 600 acres that is potentially ag land. Once you lose ag land, you lose. You don't have to get it back. That hurts my heart. That's not part of our decision making here. That's just me personally. It is in the character area that is defined as rural and conservation, and it behooves us. Although it is at the edge, I get that. It behooves us to abide by that and the concepts of it. In speaking with Mr. Coutu, again, it was my opinion that like our comprehensive plan states, if this proposal is adjacent to the city limits of Comer or adjacent to the city limits of Danville, slam dunk. And I think that just the understanding of the community as a whole recognize that that's what the comprehensive plan tells us to put intense development where infrastructure exists already to support it. I very much appreciate the statement that y'all be willing to bring your water to yourselves, and that is huge. It makes a big statement to me. Sewage is a bigger concern of mine. Again, my limited knowledge of that is a bigger concern of mine, and this is one of those. It's gray area. We're depending on your point of view, you can pretty easily justify this one way or the other. And I love our comprehensive plan. I hate it in that we tend to beat each other over the head with it. I'll take my opinion and I'll pick up this book and I'll beat you over the head with it if you have a different opinion. And we need to be careful with that. The concept or the design of it is a general concept, and we need to follow it where we can. But that's my 2 years.
Thank you, sir. And I will briefly click. I was going to make a brief statement.
He made a motion, I think. Don't we need a second on that?
Well, we were still in statements, believe it or not.
Okay, so, we'll go back. Okay.
I suppose you could insist that come now, or?
No, I'll let the chairman make his statement. I'm
just because it seems like our office, mine, Christina's, Lacey's, and several others, has received so many phone calls on this. Probably lost count now, but I know it's over 100. And that comprehensive plan that Commissioner Adams and everyone here has actually spoke about. We all see things different. We're looking at the same picture, but we can interpret it different. I will say zoning is about the use. For me, looking at the zoning map and the comprehensive plan laid out, this particular piece of property borders R3, which is a strong conviction for R3. The upper portion of this property borders A2, which is a strong conviction for A2. For me, it's just a statement. I don't get to vote, but it does fit the character area. Maybe not the use as you see intended. Currently, it is over 40% tree stumps. It's not farm. It's not fenced. There's no cows. There's no horses. But I also respect the fact that it's where it is in retrospect to the Clark County line. We have a letter from the lady that wrote the comprehensive plan. And that letter says, in short, at the very bottom, I have weighed the pros and cons based off of being the author of the plan, and I see the pros to outweigh the cons on this development. So that's coming directly from the lady that wrote the book that we follow daily. Now, is it inside the area? I want to make this clear because this will come up for years to come. There's many areas, design character areas. We have an industrial character area, a residential character area, high density, low density, commercial and business. When they drew the circle and said, we're going to call it that in that area, it was never a true circle. It was not by road. It was not by parcel. It was a general perception of that area. It was a fluid document that could move in or out. I'm just trying to get the record straight from my point of view. I appreciate every guy at this table because I can promise you, I have spoke to them. We have worked so hard, pro or con, pass or fail, on this. The due diligence that just took place over the past 48 hours is unprecedented. From our council to the developer to the Board of Commissioners and everybody attached to the emails, trying our best to find the best possible solution no matter the outcome. I've never in 3 years worked on a harder vote for due diligence. I don't think any stone has been unturned. I don't think any topic has not been discussed. For every Board of Commissioners set here, whatever the vote is, please respect that commissioner because of the due diligence. Whether it's in your favor or not, it was pure hard work that came to that discussion. We will always disagree. That's why you have a 12-panel jury. So it's hard to convince everybody all the time. But this Board of Commissioners has worked their tail off, and I'm very proud of each and every one of them, including my office staff and council. With that being said, I will conclude all comments.
And so I think you have a motion standing to approve the resolution with the conditions as presented tonight.
Okay.
So ready for a second.
I have a motion and a second for a second resolution to approve conditions as standing from Commissioner Doster, second by Commissioner May.
There's a motion to approve.
Yes, right.
Yes.
I'm going around the table.
Right, and since it's a substitute motion, that's voted on first. Yeah.
Okay, substitute motion voted on first.
No.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Sir?
And that's, that is mutually exclusive of the main motion, so that's done.
So motion carries.
Correct.
Just one statement for everybody. I know a lot of folks going to leave. I appreciate all the diligence on the part of the commissioners. I know y'all have all worked on it as hard as it's beyond imagination how much, but I do also appreciate the commitment from the potential developers here. I've never seen anybody from a development side try this hard to make something work. And that makes a pretty big statement here. And I'm counting on county staff.
Yes, sir.
Make sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
I would also like to make
Yes, please.
a statement for everybody that's here. We will add the stipulation letter and all the conditions that the board discussed. We'll add that to our website. We can add it to our Facebook page. I know that's where a lot of conversations has been too. So everybody can actually read and have a copy of what's been presented.
And I especially want to thank that young lady. She has been amazing. She is my rock every day, and this Board of Commissioners rock. Cannot do it without you. We have several more things to get to, and it all come out in the paper. We need to sit down with you. But there is one thing here that we skimmed over it, but the understanding is when the water line is connected between 106 and Sanford around the Thomas property, that means every resident of Sanford Road is eligible for water. This is not a direct line to you all. It is for everybody along that road to have an opportunity for that water. So, with that being said,
5-minute recess.
yes, please. Can we have a 5-minute recess? I know everybody's burning up. I know we want to. Thank you.
Oh, you do good. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. That's that kind of input. Oh, you got me. Jeanette, I'm sorry, Miss Jones. Oh,
No, ma'am, I actually did not. I'm sorry. I gave out my last one, and then I started collecting all this budget for anyone else. But I could share some info with you. I can write it down. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Okay.
Miss Jones, yes. It's almost the parent is what you guys thought.
Yeah, this Tampa Lake, you have Tampa Lake. Looks like there's a lot of good times happening. I will write it down so that you have it on paper. We'll write it right here.
Yes.
So right on the phone?
One second.
Oh, sorry, I jumped ahead of you.
Oh, you dying, good. Feel free to do so. That's okay. You wanna move on? Sorry. All right, go ahead, young man. Go ahead, Mr. Canellis. This is item number 3.
Item number 3. Item number 3, Ben and Rebecca Hardin.
I'm sorry, sir. It's Brittany Smith. Skip down to Brittany Smith. You don't have a revised copy.
She's on your number 9, probably.
Yeah. She's got that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we changed it on you, buddy. I'm
That's
sorry.
all right, that's all right. Feel free to do so.
Yeah. Just warn you in advance.
Which one are we going to now? Brittany's, which one?
Yes, applicant for Mary Cole. Collins.
It's number 12, I believe.
Correct?
It's Mary Collins.
That's fine, Mary Collins.
Okay, Brittany Smith, applicant for her grandmother, Mary Collins, is requesting to rezone 33.7 acres from A1 to A2 to allow the property to be split into 2 equal tracts to give to her granddaughter. Property is located at 4601 Highway 174, Danielsville, map 49, parcel 103 in District 4. No one came forward in opposition to this particular rezone request. No one came forward in favor or in opposition. The planning and zoning voted 7-0 to approve.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Smith, was there anything you'd like to add to Mr. Scott's presentation? Are you comfortable with that?
I'm comfortable with that.
All right. Anyone here to speak in favor of? Anyone here to speak in opposition of? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, we'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
Second motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Kirk, second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Chandler.
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Thank you for spending the past hour and 5 minutes.
Thank you.
2 hours. 2 hours. Oh, yeah, it is 2 hours, 5 minutes. I told you it's hot up here. I'm delirious.
And then Mr. Canola, the rest will be the original.
The rest will be slate.
So four through the rest.
All right, Ben and Rebecca Harden are requesting to rezone that 28.15 acres from A1 to A2 to allow split for their child. The property is located at 556 Stagecoach Way in Danielsville, map 63, parcel 65, District 4. Public hearing was held. No one came forward in favor. No one came forward in opposition. The planning and zoning voted 7-0 to recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. Mr. and Ms. Harden, are you comfortable with his presentation, or would you like to add anything?
I'm comfortable.
Thank you, sir. Anyone here to speak in opposition of? Anyone here to speak in favor of? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, we'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
A motion by Commissioner Kirk, second by Commissioner May. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Just one thing that would stand in the way of it. I just, I'm comfortable with easements being on the access. There's a problem will happen one day.
Oh, yes. Mike, any, we'll look at that for a second.
And I think there's a problem with it, but just in general, easements being on the.
Right, yeah. I mean, it meets the requirements.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. So, any other discussion? Hearing none, Commissioner May?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Motion carries. Thank you for 2 hours, 10 minutes. Okay.
Thank you.
Bruce Patterson, applicant for Janelle Boeing Estate, is requesting to rezone a portion of the 17.594 acres from A2 to AR to allow a split for inheritance purposes. The property is located at 6814 Highway 106 South in Hull on map 29, parcel 38 in District 1. Public hearing was held. No one came forward for approval. No one came forward in opposition. The planning and zoning recommend to Board of Commissioners for approval by a vote of 7-0.
Mr. Patterson,
Yes.
are you comfortable with his presentation, sir?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Anyone here to speak in favor of? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that this request be approved as read.
Second. I have a motion by Commissioner Adams, second by Commissioner Kirk. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Just for the record, because the applicant or application says a portion of AR, we are specifically referring to the plat that says tract 2 4 acres.
Correct, sir.
When it's a portion like that, they have to record it within, what, 6 months, 4 months?
6 months.
6 months.
All right. Any other discussion? Commissioner Kirk?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Thank you, young lady.
And Lynn and Tanya Hicks are requesting to rezone their 5.8 acres from A1 to R1 to allow a split for a child. The property is located 334 East Commerce Road on map 2, parcel 41, district 1. Public hearing was held. No one came forward to speak in favor of. No one came forward to speak in opposition to. Public hearing was held. The planning and zoning voted 6 approval, 1 opposed, for this particular rezone request.
All right, thank you, sir. Miss Hicks? And you comfortable with that presentation, or would you like to add anything to it, sir?
I'm fine.
All right. With that being said, we'll close the floor. I'm sorry, anyone in opposition? Anyone in favor? Hearing none, we'll close the floor and bring it back before the board to entertain a motion. Gentlemen?
I make the motion, this request be approved.
Motion by Commissioner Adams, second by Commissioner Kirk. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Same thing, no access made.
We'll probably need to look at those before long.
Yeah.
With that being said, any other discussion? Hearing none. Commissioner Oster?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
That being said, you want to make a note of that to reference to CPL, that in their review of our stuff, that's one of the items that is a talking point for us. Well, thank you.
All right, sir.
Sean Hayes and Adam Larson with New Frontier Holdings LLC are requesting to rezone their 4.44 acres from R1 to B to operate a mobile home dealership on the property. The property is located at 7960 Highway 72 West in Carver on map 46, parcel 202 in District 3. There were some that spoke in favor of. Sean Hayes, co-owner of the New Frontier Holdings LLC, spoke in favor. No one came forward to speak in opposition. A good presentation was made by the applicants, and the Planning and Zoning recommend to the Board of Commissioners 7-0 for approval.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hayes or Mr. Larson?
No. Everybody has a copy of this?
Yes, sir.
It should be the same one. So, my name is Adam Larson, one of the co-owners of New Frontier. This is my secretary. She came with me. She's interested in government and law. I was going to get her to hand this out, but she was scared. So, anyway, that's why she's here on a school night. So, I was just going to go over this just page by page. Sure. Should be quick, so you know exactly kind of where we're at. But I did want to just kind of do a brief history of just kind of where we came from and where we're going with this project overall. So, and please excuse Sean Hayes. He is in service with the Army Reserves right now, and he's been called to do some training. He's standing on a hill somewhere, but he's texting me wondering what's happening. So, all right. Great service. Yes, and so Sean and I came together. We've been friends for a number of years. He's a local realtor, very very successful. I've been in real estate for 25 years, and we came together with this opportunity to purchase the trailer parks of Diamond Hill, New Country Living, and Blue, and all three together. So this is back in October of 2022. And so we ran the numbers, did the due diligence as best as we could. We knew it was going to be crazy, and we were wrong. It was way crazier than we thought it was going to be. It was the Wild West. The previous owner had died. And
it was just people moving in, and it was a lot of work. We bit off more than we thought we could chew, but we were dedicated to the project, worked closely with the county in, you know, so many regards. It's been a long, long journey. I mean, a year ago today, I was climbing under buildings and reassembling water pipes because it was 20 degrees and water pipes were cracking and people were without water. So fast forward to today, all three parks, as all the mobile homes have been completely demolished, with past inspection. It was over 80 30-yard dumpsters, over 300 tires. I carried them out with my own hands, so I know how many came out of those, and we've had 0 calls to the 911 in the last 4 or 5 months, which we're proud to announce. That's been a big accomplishment there for me. I'm sure the police are happy about that too. So we're happy to be where we're at, and I don't know if you've noticed. So what's in discussion right now is formerly as Country Living on 7960 Georgia 72. So right between the water tower and the Ace Hardware is where you'll find it. And it's now just a chunk of land, but Sean and I built a fence to fence it off, and there's a giant Christmas tree. I'm sure many of you have noticed it at night. We're very proud of that because we built all of that, and it's been a lot of work. And what we're trying to rezone it to create a mobile home dealership, so manufactured homes. And we are now licensed with the state of Georgia. I should have brought it with me. If I had any brains, I would have. But that is our plate from the state of Georgia. We are a licensed dealer for, as far as the state is recognized. We're also certified with Legacy Homes, so they're based out of Eatonton. We've toured the factory there, and they provide a fantastic product at more of an entry-level cost for people. So really the true definition of affordable housing. So we feel like we're in alignment with the values of the county. And these homes, just bear in mind, they're all HUD approved, and the way that they're designed, they all survive an earthquake and a hurricane before they ever get to site. If you think about it, just coming down the highway. And would my house sustain that? I don't think it would. But these homes are designed for that, and they're extremely well built, and you can tour the factory. I highly recommend it. It was eye-opening for me, and I've been in construction and real estate a number of years. So with that being said, I'll show you kind of the plan and where we're at. So the very first page is just our letter of intent, which goes over the what we intend to do. The next page is the business plan. I'm sure you've read it. It's boring, but it has what we intend to do with it. So the following document is the site plan, and what you're looking at with the red outlined rectangles there. There's going to be approximately 6 show homes in the beginning, and there will be one more permanent structure that is the actual office, which will be a manufactured home as well. It will be on septic, and that's a rough design. In the back quarter of the land is for storage of buildings that might be coming in and out as transactions happen, and so on. We have Georgia Department of Transportation, our GDOT letter of approval. So they have approved the site, the driveway, the entryway has been approved. There's also been, if you follow to the next page, there's also been the research has been done on the traffic. It's considered a low collision area. Highway 72, people roll down that road pretty quick, but there is enough frontage and there's enough land that an easement into a turn lane is not required. And it's a low traffic type of business anyway. It's not going to have a large volume of cars, and there's plenty of visibility, and the study kind of speaks for itself. So we have that all in approval. The next page is the site plan as well, but it has the GDOT notes that are on there that show their notes and stipulations for the entryway, which is the width and so on. And we closed off the other one that's already fenced off and inaccessible. The next one is drainage. And you can see, just for reference, so down here at the bottom, that's Highway 72. So what I call the very back of the property, that's where the drainage ditch or pond is going to be created. I doubt there'll be much water in it. We're not changing the overall landscape very much, but it has all been studied and researched and done through engineers, and that's the site plan for that. If I'm going too fast, just tell me to stop, but we'll do that. And the last one is just the land survey that we did. So
We've had the entire land tested as well and approved from the environmental department. Our septic tank, we have over 2,000 gallon septic tank on site that we're using and has been certified it's good to go for a business. And that's where the office will be, but it's gonna be one toilet and one sink. And we have a working well on place. We don't need the county's water. We're good. So that's
All right.
what I have for you.
What is the .63 acres that's designated off of that plat?
Oh, is that the last page you're looking at?
Yes.
It's actually two parcels, and the county, when we went in and spoke to the officials on that, they asked us to combine it. We have no problem with that. Makes sense to us, so.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? Anyone here to speak in favor of? Young lady? No. Anyone here to speak in opposition of? Hearing none, we'll close the floor. Yes, ma'am.
I'm not a for or against, I already made my vote, but I just want to bring forth that, that I brought forth in our meeting that they would not make it, and they showed me that they would not make it like the one on Highway 29 where they got all these houses stuck together and the business sign would be presentable and not something that would show kind of tacky, so.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
We actually have a county ordinance
Yeah.
inside our county that protects us from that. Unfortunately, the one you're referring to is outside our county
Right.
line, and that's why it looks like it does.
But I could speak to that if I may.
Sure.
So, and I should have addressed that, I apologize that I didn't. So the vision that Sean and I had, like, we've been secret shoppers in those other competitors that are close by, and I came out of there like, we know we can beat these guys there, because they just look like manufactured, set up there, and we want ours to look like a park. Our vision is to sell a homestead that you can afford a home, you can afford to buy a quality home that you can live in, and it can be a homestead, hence already us building out and making the fence and the tree and the flagpole and everything that we've done, and we want to add more. So ours, essentially, we want it to look like a park, not a big row of manufactured homes.
I did not hear any opposition, so we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve this, rezone request as presented.
I have a motion by Commissioner May. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Adams. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Well, this is an area that's designated to be approved for business.
As a point of order, would the motion accept a friendly amendment to make the Z-bar a requirement?
Yes.
Combine the tracks.
Oh, yeah. So,
Already got a new survey? Oh, that's right, that survey has a recording stamp on it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Don't see that.
I may have not provided the most updated survey, but
you do have it?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
That is not
Okay, that's right.
Saying the Z-bar event, so we're looking at it as one parcel.
Thank you, sir. Good job. Any other discussion, gentlemen? So I have a motion and a second. Commissioner Adams?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
That's Sean Taylor.
Oh, yeah, of course I will.
Linda Thompson is requesting to rezone a portion of her 62.05 acres from A1 to AR to allow a split for a family member. The property is located at 1220 Sewell Mill Road in Danielsville, map 24, parcel 69 in District 2. Public hearing was held. No one came forward to speak in favor. No one came forward to speak in opposition. The Planning and Zoning voted 7-0 to recommend approval.
Thank you. Is anyone here to speak in favor? I'm sorry, ma'am, would you
That's
anything
fine.
like to add?
That's fine.
Thank you. Anyone here to speak in favor of? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board, gentlemen, we'll entertain a motion.
Move this rezone request be approved as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Chandler, second by Commissioner Adams. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Mr. Chandler?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Good job.
Victor Neely is requesting to rezone 2 adjoining tracts of land containing 1.89 and 4.62 acres from A1 to R1 to combine and make 3 splits for a total of 4 parcels to build homes to rent or sell. The properties are located at 029 South in Carbon on map 43, parcel 97, and 106-01 in District 2. Kim Griffith, on behalf of Victor Neely, addressed the board and answered questions. No one came forward to speak in favor. Marion Baker came forward to speak in opposition. After much discussion, the planning and zoning voted 5 approval and 2 to deny. So therefore, it was recommended to the Board of Commissioners to approve by a 5-2 vote.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Neely, is there anything you'd like to add to that, sir?
I'm Tim Griffith. I'd like to speak to that. I reside in Danielsville, Georgia. And first thing I'd like to say, Commissioner Adams, this would address a comment you made earlier about affordable housing here in Madison County. We'd like to build 4 affordable houses on these lots, certainly under $300,000. One of the things I'd like to point out here in support of why we're asking this, I'm a traffic engineer and have been in traffic engineering for over 40 years. One word you never use as a traffic engineer is the D word. You never use the word dangerous. So with this in mind, if you see up at the upper end here, there is a sharp curve there. And if you all will recall, not too long ago, we had 2 fatalities there because of a high rate of speed. Don't know the other contributing factors. No one will ever know. However, just imagine a school bus stopping in that curve to let little children off to go to a residence. And these probably will be starter homes, something that young families would like to purchase, something affordable here in Madison County. So we're respectfully requesting to split these up. We had one thing that we had asked earlier, Mr. Scott, that we were not aware of the fact that if we put all 4 driveways together, we'd have to pave this, have a 30-foot wide paved road to Madison County standards. So what we'd really like to ask, this is the old Tip Top Motel property. We want to bulldoze that old hotel down. We'd like to use that original driveway for the first 2 properties and then take the driveway on around to the other 2 properties to get it out of that curve. We've spoken with GDOT about this, and GDOT certainly supports us doing that. So you'll have these curves in a safe, these driveways in a safe zone. We won't have to worry about, well, can't say we won't have to worry about people at a high rate of speed impacting someone, but they certainly will have adequate sight distance and more than adequate stopping distance in that curve there. And we think that's the logical place to put those. Another reason that we considered going with this with 2 driveways, we could build a 16-foot driveway rather than the 30-foot. And one of the planning and zoning ladies who's here tonight, she expressed concern that if we had the 30-foot driveway in, we would be perhaps reducing the area for the septic systems. So we could certainly put that at the back of the property line and increase the distance and have enough room there for septic systems without any issue. So that's what we are respectfully requesting tonight.
I want to take a moment to explain the driveway situation.
Okay.
So the county, because you're asking to inevitably 4 separate homes.
Correct.
We changed the ordinance in 2022.
May 2nd, 2022.
May 2nd, 2022, from a shared driveway. The reason being for this is, I'm just giving you a heads up. When you have 4 separate property owners sharing one driveway, somebody's going to get potholes and the other one's not going to fix it, and they're going to demand it be fixed, and they're going to come before the Board of Commissioners demanding, or at least requesting the Board of Commissioners to approve this as now a county road, which therefore we cannot do because we have 112 miles of dirt roads, so therefore it just gets to the bottom of the list.
Sure.
So I want you to understand clearly why there was a request, or why the Board of Commissioners says now you must have to pave it to a county standard.
If there are 3 or more serving that driveway, correct?
2 or more.
2 or more?
2 or more.
So those would still have to be paved.
Correct.
Well, I thought last time we were told 3 or more, but there are 3 or more. That was
property splits more than twice.
Okay.
What, if it serves
more than 2 homes?
If it serves 2 or more residents.
Correct.
Yeah. Has to be paved.
So
I would just caution you that that may be part of the condition that'll be placed on this.
Well, it doesn't have to be a condition, that's already a county ordinance.
Yeah.
Could I ask a question, because I'm misunderstanding this? I'm Victor Neely. When I talked to DOT, they said I had to have a shared driveway. And I thought that at the other meeting that you had said that if it served more than two, that it had to be
No,
paved.
2 or more.
So 2 or more.
Yeah.
So that means any driveway I put there would have to be 30 feet wide and paved.
Well, unless it only serves one residence. You could have 4 individual
But
driveways.
they told me I had to have a shared driveway.
Correct.
So I couldn't have a
So
driveway
to
for each home.
accommodate DOT, you're gonna have to pave it according to the local ordinance.
Yeah,
So
I think this kind of goes, they said, I'm just telling you what they told me. They said that the driveway could not be more than 16 feet wide. I wanted it wider when I was looking at putting the driveway in the curve, which they said I could do. When I was looking at that, you know, if you're going towards Athens, the dangerous part there's plenty of sight distance coming from the other direction. But if you're going towards Athens, there's not much sight distance. And if you had to wait, you know, my idea is I wanted the people to be able to just pull in real quick. But if somebody was coming out and you had to wait for stop in the lane and wait for them, you know, to come out and get out of your way, that's the dangerous part, is sitting in that curve. So I talked to them extensively about having a wider driveway, and they kept on saying 16 feet, and another man finally came out and he said, well, it's not exactly 16 feet, and he kind of told me how to figure it. Well, 16 changed to like 30, but the driveway, once you get, I think it's 15 feet from the road, it has to be 16 from what they told me. So that's kind of going against what...
Each individual driveway has to be 16 feet, but if you're using a shared driveway, the county requires it to be 30. If you try to put 4 individual driveways, they're telling you 16 feet, which they won't approve because of the curve. They're going to make you try to go to 1. So your option is to request a rezone, and if approved, you will end up building 1 driveway 30 foot wide to serve all 4 homes at the furthest point of the curve. That's the inevitable answer you'll get if the rezone passes, if that's the one you want. I'm just trying to give you the gist of it.
Okay, I guess I was unaware that, but the guy, he was saying that it had to be a shared driveway, and it could only be 16, so that's why I misunderstood that, I guess, but.
Do you know who spoke with what you go to? Because this is, I mean, Mr. Dykes and then Mr. Peavy, they're for our district, so this is something that we can communicate with them on their regulations versus ours.
I know them personally, neither.
Okay.
I have their names written down, but.
Probably a traffic engineer from Gainesville, if I had to guess.
I think he was from the local office.
So if you would like to table this before a vote happens, to give more of an opportunity for clarity from DOT, that is an option, correct?
Sure. It is. We need to go ahead with our public hearing tonight.
Sure.
Because it's already been, but the board could vote to postpone it to next month for the vote.
I don't think so. I'll just go with what you're telling me, but I just want to make sure. So if the driveway serves 2 homes, it still has to be 30 feet wide and paved.
Yeah, these guys would know better than I do.
Yeah, it's a 60-foot right of way. There's Alan, what did we say the road base was? 22-foot road base, 10-foot ditches. There's a whole grading, percentage grade, type of asphalt, compact testing, just like a paved road standards would be. All that is.
Even though there's a pipeline right away that's got to be crossed, they would still grant that to us?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
As long as you don't dig and you're adding to.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And pardon my ignorance.
No, it's fine. I just
appreciate
wanted to put clarity to it so you wasn't blindsided in the
Yes,
future, that's all.
Thank you. I've been before Athens commissioners many times. This is a refreshing change. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How deep are those lots?
Victor, do you remember how deep I drew them out, Terry, and I can't remember how deep.
220.
I think they're 200 and something.
Okay, 200.
Yeah, that was 216, 219, Yeah, maybe 3:30.
You have to wait.
Hard to see.
I got a comment.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. You got a comment.
Do I need to sit down there?
No, whenever you finish.
I'm finished.
No, okay.
We got a new public hearing. He just got a comment.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. My comment is that we voted 5-2 for approval.
Yes.
Okay. Things have changed somewhat from what we heard. You know, we voted on where the driveway came in off the curb, not that it comes in where the old Tip Top Motel was at. So we're kind of at a disadvantage to this particular vote for a recommendation from planning and zoning. So you have more information than we had. So I want you to make sure that the board takes in consideration that when you take in consideration that we voted to approve.
Thank you, sir. Is anyone here else in favor of? Anyone here in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, and gentlemen will entertain a motion.
Just another question. And this may be too premature now, if y'all answer this, but after having heard it, are y'all thinking that you're going to be going with one driveway or two short driveways?
I haven't priced that. You know, what they were saying, that was news. I thought at the last meeting they said that if it was more than two, it had to be 30 feet wide and paved. So that's why I kind of added a different driveway. The driveway or for the hotel, it's existing. It's always been there. I was just going to use it to access that lot and the next lot, the second one. But I hadn't changed the proposed driveway that goes in at the far left and goes all the way up to the third and fourth lot. I hadn't changed that because I'll be honest with you, when I bought the 4.62 acres, I went there, maybe it was a weekend or something, but the cars went by fairly normal and it seemed safe. But going back a few times and standing there during the week, they drive 80 miles an hour through that curve, and I just don't feel comfortable with the DOT told me I could put the driveway there, but I don't feel comfortable with it. So that's why I bought the hotel property, so that I could do the driveway the way it's drawn on there and get the driveways out of the curve. But I don't know if,
consideration on that.
You know, if it has to be paved and ditches and all that, I don't know. I'll have to get prices on that.
If you want to see what we're talking about, the Code of Ordinances is on the county website, and it's sections 5818-181 through 58-186.
Okay, thank you.
We're sure it's his intent to use county water. Excuse me, do you intend to use county water, though?
Yes, sir.
I'm just thinking outside the box though, Mike, that, if we go ahead and vote to rezone this, like you've requested, and you choose not to, now you got two separate parcels, you may have to combine again for another rezone. Would you rather wait and compile your prices and then come back before the board?
Well, they wouldn't need another rezone to...
No, not another reason. Well, I mean, if they convert it back, if they had to put it all back into one, to have one driveway, it just has to build one house.
Well, it would be two. The worst case, if I don't want to do the paved driveway, it would be the two parcels that it already is, two houses.
Exactly. Yeah.
Different. Another survey asking for the combination though, because right now you're asking for both. Am I correct?
Well, no, he's just rezoning these two lots to R1.
All right.
So,
no problem.
Once they're rezoned to R1, he can do anything that R1 allows.
All right.
Unless conditions.
Yeah, unless the board imposes conditions.
Okay. All right, so floor is closed. I'll entertain a motion from the board.
I move this rezone request be approved.
Have a motion by Commissioner Chandler, second by Commissioner Kirk. Oh, I'm sorry, Doster. I was saying a finger and I heard something, so I'm sorry.
but
Commissioner Doster.
It come out of his mouth.
Any discussion, gentlemen, on this, or any conditions?
Well, I appreciate the awareness of the safety concern here, as long as there's an issue there. My preference would be for it to be two residences instead of four, and I understand we're keeping all this up here. We're a little out of character here. with the comprehensive plan. It's not necessarily out of character with the area. So we just need to be careful with that. It definitely would be a considerable improvement above what is existing there. What you talking?
All right.
Go ahead and I'm gonna comment, everybody.
So I have a motion and a second. So with that being said, any other comment?
I think I should probably abstain from this, but Mr. Griffith and my father-in-law are close relatives.
That's fine.
Yeah, you don't have to, but if you want to, that's fine.
Well, I mean, I don't want it to look like.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You always have the right to if you feel like it has an appearance of impropriety.
All right.
Avoid even the appearance.
Absolutely, sir. So any other discussion? Hearing none, Commissioner Kirk.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Well, with that being said, I'm at the tip top. I'm a little older than you guys. And I'll be put on the National Register of Historic Places. I've got my own reasons for that. I'll make that motion if you want to. I'll give a lot of details. I can do that. You put that in one of my mind.
It might be a memorandum.
That's right. Okay. Barry Lloyd, with Interstate 85 Services, is requesting to rezone 42.538 acres from industrial with conditions limiting the property to only two 10,000 square foot warehouses to industrial without conditions placed on the property that was rezoned in 2022. The property is located at 11270 Highway 98 West in Commerce on map 002, parcel 006 in District 1. This is the third, I believe, rezone request for this particular property. A public hearing was held. No one came forward in favor. No one came forward in opposition. Public hearing was held. The Planning and Zoning Board voted 5-2 to recommend the Board of Commissioners approval.
Thank you, sir.
There were two other conditions.
Yes, I was fixing to ask the conditions that you're requesting.
And we're not talking about the reason,
Prior
we're
conditions.
talking about a request to remove some prior conditions.
Yes.
There
This is
were
the first one
three
reading
total on there,
Yes.
no more than two 10,000 square foot buildings, no hazardous material, and a vegetative buffer around the properties.
And I think they're only asking to remove the first condition.
Yeah, that is correct. First condition of the 10,000 square foot.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Good evening, gentlemen. Jason Black with Weinstein and Black, representing Interstate 85 Services this evening. As just to restate, really the condition that we're trying to remove is the two 10,000 square foot warehouses. As all good business plans change and morph over time, we have one prospective client that is wanting to build a 5,000 square foot building, and then we've had some interest in larger buildings. And so that being said, we kind of are wanting to keep our options open to other industry and other businesses that may be interested in taking part in this project with us. In doing so, we may want to parcel this out in 5 to 8 different parcels depending upon the size of the buildings. And so for that, with that mindset, of course, two 10,000 square foot buildings kind of limit us to that. It limits the prospective businesses moving into the county, and I believe that this would be a good benefit to being able to kind of mold and change as we get prospective builders. I guess I'll entertain any questions or concerns that the commission may have.
I've got two questions. This piece of property, didn't we also, this is where a convenience store was proposed.
There's a separate parcel that a convenience store.
Is that what the A, or is that?
That was the very first lot, I think, in that subdivision. I think it was number, I can't see, number one.
It's not part of it.
And that's
not part of it.
That's correct, and that's still forthcoming this year. It's in progress and.
Okay, so it doesn't impact that request.
It does not.
The second one, and I think this question would be one Mike and Chris would answer. We had an issue 2 or 3 months ago with the sale of the junkyard, or the pending sale of the junkyard down at Dogsboro.
Yes, sir.
And it was brought to my attention at that time that junkyards fell under industrial.
Yes, sir.
Can we make that a condition that this could not be used as a junkyard?
Yes.
I don't think Mr. Seymour needs another junkyard.
I don't need another junkyard.
Well, you know.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Well, that's, you know.
Somebody told me Mitch was gonna put a church up there, and you don't think you need industrial for a church?
We may do that for a church.
Along the same lines as Denny's question, and I'm operating from memory here, which is a dangerous thing, but the thought process in my memory on these conditions was we recognize that's potential industrial area up there, but not necessarily what I would consider a heavy industrial. And in our ordinance, we don't have any differentiation, but if we give you just a wide open industrial, then that could be a GRP, or Mitch could have some more competition. So how could you help us to reduce some of the restrictions that you're trying to get rid of, at the same time not put us in a trap that we don't want to be in?
As it relates to, I guess I need some more clarity on what you're asking.
Help us keep it from being heavy industrial, heavy manufacturing, GRP style.
Yeah, you're talking about a car manufacturer trying to move in or something to that, a battery.
Something that we would be considered.
Yeah, I mean.
We wouldn't want a grease rendering plant.
Sure. No, I think and of course, correct me if I'm incorrect in this, but the idea here is to give a bill to suit for warehouse type businesses that are looking to open in Madison County. It's not for a manufacturing plant. If you want to limit something to, or put a special condition as to no manufacturing, heavy manufacturing, I don't think that would necessarily be a problem. Do you foresee that being an issue?
No, you can put in there about the junkyard, or, you know, I wouldn't want to keep a small business out.
Right.
That was feeding off of SK batteries or something,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, that's what we're.
Because that's what they're looking for,
Yeah.
is something a little cheaper than up there at Steve Reynolds right there.
Council, do you have a suggestion of how that might be worded?
I'm sitting here thinking that
You've done a lot of that here lately, so
Are we council to council?
Well, if they,
I am not going to try to rewrite your zoning ordinance for you here.
No. We have a suggestion on how to word the condition. Are we already?
We don't have those definitions.
We're not there yet, but.
It would take a lot of work.
discussion.
I can't do it here on the fly.
With, we're already limited, what are we limited in this? There was.
No hazardous materials.
With like, so battery stuff would be limited,
Nothing stored outside.
nothing stored out there.
Yeah. No, as far as hazardous material,
Right.
and no junkyard.
No hazardous material, period.
Yeah.
Right, period.
That
It's all right.
includes noise too, by that count.
Right.
So might I say something here briefly? We could limit this, and if you would be fine with this, it'd be up to you to enter into a blind agreement. But if we call this light industrial, and they vote for light industrial, knowing we don't physically have one, whatever verbiage we put in it, you're gonna be okay with, for light industrial.
We don't have a definition.
No, we don't, that's what I'm saying, we don't have a definition, but if they grant you something similar to a light industrial, non-heavy industrial, would you agree to when we do write it, you're gonna be okay with it?
I mean,
I wouldn't say you would.
So I would advise my client not to enter into that.
Okay.
I'd advise your client to go ahead, because it's gonna be void anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and in all transparency, right, guys? I mean, the idea here is to make best use out of the property for businesses that want to move in here, right? We're not trying to move in some major manufacturing company or anything to that. We have a prospective client that wants a 5,000 square foot building.
We have another one,
the next
same
one,
thing, he's wanting a 5,000 square foot building.
the next one may want an 18,000 square foot building, right? So it's like I started with, it's a business plan that is in flux in some degree, because we don't really know what interest we're going to have at this point, other than we know there's 2 buildings prospectively that are less than what you guys said, and we would already be basically burning up our 2 buildings. So
Not to disclose your client, but could we say that would be a retail, would be appropriate, and/or warehousing would be appropriate, as long as it's not hazardous
Well,
material?
that's what P&Z voted. That's what one of their conditions was, that the structures be limited to warehouses only.
Okay,
No, that's what we're getting rid of.
10,000 square feet.
Just 2
They're asking for to go bigger than 10,000.
yeah, we're wanting to be able to add more than just
So, had you given your council time to do this, the way you would have done it would have been to look at section 4.6 of your zoning ordinance that makes reference for interpretation to the North American Industrial Classification System published by the U.S. Department of Commerce. And that would have given all of us time to look at the classifications in the NAICS and figure out which ones that you wanted to restrict this to. But I can't do that sitting here.
Gotcha.
But I think it would be safe to say, if you look at the proposed lot sizes, you're not gonna put in a heavy fabrication shop there, you're not gonna put in a battery manufacturing plant or storage facility there.
Yeah, you can only put so many buildings on 42 acres.
46.
But you're looking at,
46.
just so I know, Mitch, you're looking at putting a building up that someone may use, like I'm a plumbing contractor.
That's right.
I may have.
I got a crane company right now.
2 or 3
building.
offices in it, and a small warehouse.
Where they can store park their trucks and
Yeah.
work on. That's what we got.
Would it be acceptable to y'all to condition you to be tied to the footprint, to the layout that you have presented?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, tie it to that. There you go. Okay. We just want to move forward with this project. Someone said, well, we ain't done nothing. Well, you can't do nothing until you get this straightened out on the finance end.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Anyone here speak in favor of? Anyone here speak in opposition of? With that being said, we'll close the floor and bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion of some sort.
I would make a motion that this request be approved utilizing the plat or the site plan that was presented that gave us acreage size there.
So recordation of actually, this has to go through the major subdivision process, because it's more than 5 lots, so, but a condition is that it be divided according to the site plan.
That plan.
Okay.
You good with that, Mitch?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Adams, a second by Commissioner Chandler. Any other discussion, gentlemen?
Knowing it's gonna be the industrial components of it, not as a condition, but just as work with our planning and zoning department for the appropriate public infrastructure for the road. We'll need a beefed up road, is what I'm trying to say, but I'm not making that a condition. We'll let staff address that as we go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's gonna meet it'll be built to y'all's standards. I've done spoke with Alan.
I assume that this,
Garrett will be the contractor.
I assume that this development will utilize county water too?
Yes, once we get that, around there, or if it comes up the opportunity and y'all need a well or something, hey, we're willing to work with you right there, on that corner right there.
All right, thank you, sir. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I think it's on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Yes. Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll get out of here by midnight.
Your time, you here at 6:03?
Yeah, I apologize, everybody in the world warned me up, but school has been canceled for tomorrow. Yes, due to inclement weather.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, hopefully we can
Yeah,
get
Mike
out
Williams is
before the
texting that.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys are talking.
What the smart one said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Williams, I just want to let you know that I made the decision to cancel school tomorrow due to the possibility of severe weather tomorrow. Thank you. Now you gotta work late. Come on, you ain't gotta hurry on. All right, Mr. Scott.
All right, Fred, Maria Hall are requested to rezone two adjoining tracts of land containing 5.2 and 5 acres from A1 to AR to allow the common property line between the adjoining properties to be adjusted to allow setbacks to be met. The properties are located at 416 and 464 Steel O'Kelly Road in Danielsville on map 41, parcel 2 and 3 in District 2. Public hearing was held. No one came to speak in favor. No one came to speak in opposition. The planning and zoning recommended 7-0 to the commissioners for approval.
Thank you, sir. Anyone here speak in favor of? Anyone here speak in opposition of? Is Mr. Hall here? Ms. Hall? Are you comfortable with that presentation? Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, we'll close the floor, entertain a motion.
Move this rezone request be approved as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Chandler, second by Commissioner Kirk. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Commissioner Kirk.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for your patience, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Number 12.
Shane Sartar, excuse me if I pronounced that wrong.
Sarter, one quick word, Sarter.
Sartar, okay. Is requesting to rezone a portion of his 25 acres from A1 to A2 to bring the property in compliance with zoning regulation after a portion is split and absorbed into neighbors' adjoining property 0105/0112-01, leaving him with 18.68 acres. The property is located on Bertha Willis Road in Carlton on map 105, parcel 012-02 in District 4. The public hearing was held. No one came forward to speak for. No one came forward to speak in opposition. Planning and zoning voted 7-0 to approve.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sarter, you good with that? All right, so I'm assuming that you're selling part of that property, you're gonna retain 18.6 and you're just trying to bring it into conformity.
Yes, Bates, the adjoining property owners decided to move their location, but they were going to build their house. And so it shifted closer to the property line, so they wanted to buy that portion of land so that their house wouldn't be so close to the property line.
So we combine the claims.
All right.
By ordinance, that has to be combined.
Yes, sir.
Anyone speak in favor of? Anyone speak opposition of? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board, gentlemen, we'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve, as stated by the presentation from, Planning and Zoning Commission.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kirk, second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Mr. Doctor.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
You made him say that, right? You need the tip top.
Okay. I believe this is the last one, I think. Adam Swan, applicant for Mary T. Shelton Trust, Donald Boros Jr. is requesting to rezone 43.02 acres from B to R3 to develop a retirement community subdivision consisting of 36 lots. The property is located on 0 Norwood Road in Hull on map 18, parcel 078 in District 1. Public hearing was held. Doug Price and Gary Burdette spoke in favor. Angela Rouse and James Buhite had questions about the request. The planning and zoning voted 5-2 to deny. There was a lot of discussion made, and I think the reason for the denial is that we are limited in B zones. That was a concern. But anyway, we voted to recommend to the commissioners to deny on a vote of 5-2.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Swan, is there anything you'd like to add or comfortable with that? Sure, come on up.
Good evening. I know it's been a long evening, Swan. I'll try to make this quick. Yeah, so this is proposal for 36 houses. It is a 55-plus neighborhood. The project would have a HOA that would have covenants that would state that to purchase a house in there, that the purchaser would have to be 55-plus years old. This would limit any impact on the school systems. It also having the covenants, which is typical for a retirement neighborhood, that kids aren't allowed to live there full time. So there would be a hardship clause in the covenants, to where if grandparents had kids with grandkids, something happened, those kids could stay there for 60 to 90 days during a hardship, but that would have to get approved through the HOA with the president and board of the HOA. All the yards would be sodded. It would be managed by a professional lawn care company to keep everything to standards. Trash will be picked up as well from the same trash pickup. The houses would be limited to 2 bedrooms with an office to ensure that it is compliant with a 55-plus retirement community. And the houses would have a lot of ADA components to them. Part of the project on the interior road there, you'll see on the interior side, I will put a sidewalk around that portion of the road to give that a walkway for the residents of the neighborhood. And there would be real wheelchair accessibility from the road to there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think there was a discussion about the business, the property being business. I think that was done several years ago before the DOT actually made the roadway change they did there. This has only got around 125 foot of frontage on Norwood Road. Doesn't have very much visibility necessarily from Highway 106. I think that opportunity for business there is limited due to that and the fact that there's a gas line easement going through there. And commercial development's not going to, more than likely not going to go into there. So I had several requests from individuals in the county that are in the age that would fit this model over the last 5 to 6 years. And I was waiting for a piece of property that was close to Ingalls, CVS, that area that would fit this being suitable. So that's why I proposed this. On the back, you'll see there's a 25, it's hard to see, actually, probably with an 8.5 by 11, but there's a 25-foot undisturbed buffer along the agricultural property that I think Mr. Hardy owns. That will be recorded on the final plat, and in the event that one of the homeowners in the future did go back there and cut down trees and build a barn, that would be enforceable, I assume, in civil court. So, is there any questions for me?
I have a couple.
Okay.
Real quick, and I guess first off, start off with Christopher. He says 120 foot of road frontage. I thought we had a minimum 150 foot of road frontage in our ordinance.
It's 165.
Is it got 165?
It's a little over 165, there's 45 foot on Stanford Road, that little.
So that's, I mean, that's a concern.
Yeah, but
You have to ask for a variance during the plan approval.
He has
Plan
enough,
of plat.
he has enough to create a single entrance. But it's 165 or 168.
Okay.
Because that.
You're talking about what he's got, not what's required.
Yeah, what he has, it's 150 required, he has just over.
How about you say you had 120?
I was just looking at it a while ago.
Yeah, when I measured in my office, I come up with around 120 also, so I was just curious as
Because I was looking at
how we got here.
Well, this doesn't have Norwood Road on it.
Gotcha.
Oh, you did, you measured, don't keep over?
No, when we went out there and checked the sign.
Oh, okay.
So you took a physical measure from them?
Yeah, I went out there when we were worried about, or when we go around each month checking the signs.
Yeah, right, that ain't doing anybody.
I used a rangefinder and I had John Stackle, one of our officers, stand on one end where the property line was, and then I shot him with the laser on the other side. Not saying it's perfect.
Well, you're going, I mean, somebody's going to know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're going to have to be, is
But
the
that-
plat already done? Is there pins there that you can measure by? Because you got to know this, because it's going to be a variance request or not.
There's a survey in the package, it's not legible.
I know.
Well, I haven't run a boundary survey, we'll do that at final construction drawings, the full boundary.
Well,
This is from the previous boundary.
but you got a 30-foot road, and a 60-foot right of way.
Yes.
Is your intent
It's a six, yes, sir.
30-foot road, 60-foot right of way?
Yeah, well, it'd be 24 foot, it'd be a 60-foot right of way, and typical road standards for the county, 20-foot paved, 2-foot back to curb on each side, so 24-foot back to curb,
And you're, and just, I know I'm no man's mind worse than anybody else's, but your sidewalk, it begins at this point down here. The interior of the roadway. All right, and one other question I've got, to make sure everybody's in the loop, that there's a pipeline easement.
Yes, sir.
Through this property. In your calculations for your lot size, are you including that? What I'm trying to get at is, in order for me to.
It's not included as usable soil.
That's where I'm going, for like your reserve fields.
Correct, yes, sir.
And should, in the event you had to go to a reserve field, you are not placing that reserve field on the other side of that easement, because you can't cross it.
Correct. It would all have to be contiguous on one side.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think
128.
that's, that's what I thought. That's the map he's got here too.
I think you would probably include the Sanford Road.
Yeah.
So with that being
Right.
said,
But it's pre-existing. So in a subdivision, whatever entrance came in is, for this, if it was.
it's not a subdivision. Right now it's 43 acres with a 12-foot driveway.
Yeah.
And when you now make a driveway with an in and out, you gotta have 150 foot. You ain't got 150 foot, you got 120. So it's not pre-existing and it's not grandfathered. You have to, and it's fine to do so. We just have to put a condition allowing him to go within that 150-foot buffer.
So what I need to ask for variance during preliminary plat?
You would probably have to ask, well, I would ask for it now, because.
Yeah, you're gonna have to apply for the variance.
Correct, so,
You gotta go.
yeah, you have to go through the whole process, because, I mean, honestly, yeah, I don't know, yet. I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying we're ahead of ourselves.
Let me put something out there for thought here. And I appreciate this is zone business, but the likelihood of a business being located here is, I know Mike Ring built a thing down there, but the likelihood of any substantial business being located on acreage this size in this location is pretty remote. I mean, at the end of the day, it just ain't a good place to put a business. There's no road frontage, no visibility to it unless you want to put a chop shop in there or something like that. But if we, essentially, if we deny Adam the use of this for what he's proposing, and understand, Adam, I'm not a big fan of yours, you know, we talk about that.
Well, let's just be honest.
You made that clear. But what I'm saying is in a sense of functionality, if he has 125 foot or 120 foot of road frontage to build a driveway on, what his intended use for that 125 foot of it facilitates that, where I'm not sure we want to put an industrial park in there. And
he's trying to strain that.
No, I got it now.
What I'm saying is if somebody walked in next week and wanted to put a business there, then we're right back in the same thing, saying you can't do it because you don't have the road frontage. In this application, or the suggestion of what he wants to do, I feel more comfortable with what he wants to do than saying we're not going to let him do this, we're going to hold it for business, and then when a business comes in saying you can't do it because you only got 125 foot of road frontage. Does that argument or that make sense?
It's logical to me, but that was my first question. The second question is 55 and older with a restriction of 90 days for, let's just say, a child. That's really going to be hard to enforce because it may be, because you said grandfather, grandmother, but if it's court-appointed guardianship, now you have children in it, so you can't stand behind.
Well, that's where there's that hardship clause, and they can vote for additional time with the board and the president, but it's up to that HOA board president to determine when they're taking advantage of the situation. Because typically, what I've seen in these, people who move into these, they want quiet. They don't want a lot of kids running around in the neighborhood. And so that's why I've seen it in the covenants in the past.
If I move there, I want you to take that out.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying that's what I've seen in other projects like this that have covenants that restrict that. So.
I just want to make it clear that, you may be court ordered and you won't have any choice, and your HOA is going to have to abide by the court order.
Right. Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
They can't sell their home just because the judge told them you got to take this kid, but yet you don't meet HOA requirements, is what I'm saying. So I'm concerned about that.
If I may, I caught up on the frontage requirements, so this, where the 128 feet is, that will be the street that's the entrance. All the new lots within this each exceed 150. So that's not an issue. Yeah. These will be public streets when they're correct. So that's not a problem. Okay.
Public water.
Yes, sir.
Just a question on how HOAs work, and that Mr. Roach and I have been working with a citizen of the other subdivision. I've come to understand that covenants in the absence of active HOAs go away in 10 years, right? So how do you ensure an active HOA? Persistent
HOA. Let me correct that first. So covenants are valid for 20 years and can be renewed for 20 years. Whether there's an HOA or not to enforce it doesn't matter. Covenants, if there is an HOA, they would enforce the covenant. Right. If there's not an HOA, any landowner, any lot owner could enforce it against their neighbors.
But if an organization does not exist and they expire, they're just gone.
They're just gone, yeah.
But some of the covenants can stay at the end of the 20-year period. They're automatically
renewed for another 20. Right.
And in perpetuity, correct?
Do they continue renewing? Yeah. Well, I thought it was just one renewal period, but that's not my area of expertise, so I'll defer to you on that.
I think it's in the verbiage of how it's filed.
Yeah, because I've seen them where it says in 20 years it's automatically renewed in perpetuity.
Now, you also have to figure in with HOAs is when it changes, how often it changes.
and can be based on the board, if they meet on Tuesday night at 6 o'clock, they decide we don't like the way that guy's house is painted, needs to repaint it, and they make a motion to do so, that it continually is evolving.
Right.
HOAs normally do.
Mm-hmm.
But on this side, you're looking for 2 bedrooms,
Yes.
2.5 baths,
Some plans probably have 2 baths, sometimes probably have 2.
all single story,
Yes, sir.
with a thing on ADA and aging in place
Yes, sir.
in the homes. And I know this is down the road, but, and you can tell me you haven't decided, and that's fine too. What do you envision the outside materials on sheet?
Be all cement siding and masonry.
Spartan
products.
plank and masonry.
And then architectural shingles.
Okay. Are we?
Any other questions?
Just for my curiosity, this is just gonna be homes, there's not gonna be any other amenities or anything for 55-year-old folks?
Other than the sidewalk on the inside, and then I talked with the engineer about potentially trying to incorporate some type of walking trail in the stormwater management area, because it's a very big area that we've got set aside for that. So those are the 2 amenities. We consider pickleball courts. When you've got a density that's going to be probably 30, 40, 36, it's just hard to absorb the costs and maintenance of that. So.
What is this a home here too, Adam, in this spot right now? Okay.
Y'all have done a perk test yet?
We've done just a fatal flaw.
Okay, perfect.
And we'll go into the full construction plans and level 3 soils and everything. So if it's approved.
Any other questions from the board?
Yeah.
Brian?
Yes.
Just the square footage of the houses roughly?
1,600 to 2,400 square feet.
When you say ADA acceptable, that means ADA door frames, like for the.
3 doors, just on the interior.
Throughout ADA.
Yes, and like showers,
yes,
where they can get in, accessible, not the tub.
The sidewalk, you mentioned the interior one, and I get that for the walking community, and I think that's necessary. But, is it in our is our development ordinances, are they gonna be required to put one out to the road? That small section?
I'm not aware of it.
Where I'm going with it is, we're creating an elderly community, get out, activity, walk. I'm not suggesting that you have to put the infrastructure in for a sidewalk to connect up to the school, but, on the public road, but the interior part, getting us out to the main right of way so we can create that, building that development of community from there to the school or,
So just basically take it from Norwood down to where the road goes into the circle on each side?
Yeah, you said Richard's
Yeah.
He's referring.
Yeah. Derek, you're thinking something like Athens, Clark County requires,
When you build it,
when you build, for sidewalk to Delaware.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they eventually die.
Yeah.
And then have handicap there.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Absolutely should have. One more question.
Yeah, like a comment was made earlier, how do you keep this from just being, become a rental property?
Well,
I can see that happening a lot easier here than even though it's on this golf course.
well, if the residents are living there, they have to be 55 and older for the covenants, so that could be enforceable through the covenants. So if
You're saying the HOA would be responsible for that?
Any of the homeowners.
All right, well, we haven't done the for and oppose yet. Anyone here to speak in opposition of? Anyone here to speak in favor of? Yes, sir.
Just quick. Terry Burdett, real estate agent, representing the owners of this property. They live in Illinois, they've never seen it, they inherited the property. I was the one that rezoned it to business for the estate at that time. But not knowing, I sold the other 2 properties, no problem. But this particular property, I have had it for 5 years.
and I have had many businesses to look at it, but as soon as they see that, pipeline, I said, bye, they're gone. They're not interested in it, so, I would have already sold this property, believe me, I've never had a listing this long since I've been in real estate, 20-something years. So, but anyway, to me, it was just something that made sense. You're 3/4 of a mile from Clark County line. You got CVS, Ingalls, doctors, dentists, everything is right there. Just within a short period of driving distance for these people.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, but, I was one of the ones that voted to, for this to go forward, because if you look at it, the location is, the location, and it's not good for business. I know we're short on business, but this is not, and we talked about the covenant, and if you look at Presbyterian Village in Oconee County, it's 55 and over, they cannot have, it's in their contract, they cannot have children or grandchildren living with them. So this is something I think should go forward because it is a great opportunity, and maybe might look at adjusting the pricing that you gave us on that for seniors, because that Presbyterian Village, they got a waiting list.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so if there's nobody else here to speak in favor of, nobody else here to speak in opposition of, we'll close before we bring it back before the board, gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion, this request be approved.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Adams. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Kurt. Gentlemen, any other discussion?
I want to, you've been here forever, and I get it, and I don't want to delay for the sake of delaying, but my question or comment is, we had a stipulation letter that went with the previous one. Now, does this level get to that point? I think it would. I think it'd been helpful. I guess I don't like to legislate from the floor. Councilors will probably shoot me. But you made the comment about the materials that you're going to put on there. Can we put that as a stipulation?
Yes, sir.
You can put that as a condition.
This goes through, subdivision.
Yes.
They still have a lot of opportunity to do this.
No, you don't. Subdivision, plat approval is a matter of objective. It either meets the criteria or it doesn't. So discretion is all at this stage.
Right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm looking for some pretty significant housing standards.
All right, so gentlemen, have a motion and a second, with discussion being the stipulation to.
What was presented tonight, and I can't quote it, was specific house size, materials, exterior materials, you know.
Specific bedrooms.
Yep.
Adam, does that sound fair? Would you have that?
Yes, sir, I'm okay with that.
Sure. And that being said, because I really don't want to follow the email trail like the previous applicant had, if y'all could facilitate that, your comments and I'll be directed to Christina.
Now?
What? No, not now, not this. But in the process, you know, when you send her what we discussed.
I think it was 1,600 to 2,400 square foot.
No, we gotta have it in the motion.
Tonight, yeah. Somebody for clarification, please say that out loud for me. I am doing it right now.
In the motion will be amended.
Y'all let's keep talking.
To a minimum.
Okay.
Motion is gonna be amended to a minimum 1,600 square foot, up to a 2,200 square foot, or you wanna put a max at all?
Well, just put them in because it's actually like 24 feet.
Okay, so fine, 1,600 square foot minimum, exterior is masonry, stone,
Cement siding. Architectural shingles.
All have
Solid yard.
enclosed garage or
Yes, sir.
attached enclosed garage.
Yes, sir.
And be ADA.
2 bedrooms, ADA acceptable in and out, means front door and all interior
Yes.
doors. And I'm sorry, we should.
Let me say that, we're not just picking on you, Adam.
No.
And let me say this, I appreciate the need for what you proposed for this county.
Okay.
And not to
belabor the point, but we are in desperate need of something like that.
One, two, three, four, five conditions.
And then the sidewalk thing.
Yeah. You do have to put, now density is something else for fire hydrants.
Yeah, but we're in a senior center, we want to be able to put out fires fast.
Would that be part of plan review?
What?
Would that be included in our fire
I don't know what
hydrant?
the requirement is, but.
I think it's every 500 feet.
Site plan that shows.
No, we do have a requirement. That's right, we need to, that's one thing we need to do.
Correct.
Fire hydrants? You sure it's required every 500 feet?
Yeah. That's the norm.
Intersections at 500.
State right away is
Right
1,000,
here.
but inside a residential subdivision, it is 500 feet.
But,
But I don't know if that's right. We can stipulate that. Sounds good.
We should
It's
do
been a long
that.
day.
and you got the.
That can be listed as under best ISO practice.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Awesome.
whatever, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Y'all are young.
I know, I'm trying to figure out what all conditions to put on.
You're not gonna know what Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Adams, a second by Commissioner Kirk, with the condition of the outside building materials be stone, cement, wood siding, or board and batten with architectural shingles. The second condition is the minimum square footage of 1,600 feet. The third condition is all interior and exterior doors meet the ADA regulations for width. The fourth condition is an attached closed garage. The fifth condition is all front yards be sodded. And the sixth condition is fire hydrants installed every 500 feet.
And on fire hydrants, sometimes it helps to actually read stuff.
Yeah.
So that in subdivision regulations, it says fire hydrant specs, supply lines, spacings, and by spacing must meet the requirements of the IDBA infrastructure specifications. So I don't know what those are. I don't think I have those.
Okay.
All right, but you're fine with that, whatever it is.
The IDBA got those.
Okay.
Believe it or not, you're supposed to have an availability letter first. We keep skipping that, but when you go into planning and zoning, the first thing you need to provide is an availability letter.
Oh, I thought that was a preliminary plat, I'm sorry.
That is at the preliminary.
Yeah.
Well, you sort of kind of got to need to know here
Okay.
prior to the plat approval, because we set conditions like this and you don't know that you got water yet. So I agree.
Well, I've talked to Rodney.
I know. I just want to let you know, take it for granted. Yes, sir, Mr. Scott.
I know it's a little late for this. You guys are ready to vote. But it sounds like to me that we're trying to do this on the fly. Can you not postpone it and get all this stuff together? Would you let me finish, Dennis, please?
Sure. Go right ahead, sir.
Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
To get all this together and then approve it or disapprove it. But if you're gonna do these types of things on the fly, on the night of this, that's just not the way to do it for me.
Well,
Sure.
and again, I'm sorry I interrupted you, but we included items in the stipulation letter on the previous application that literally, I think it was 5:53 when we received those. So if we're gonna do that, then let's back up and start over for the, I mean.
So in a perfect world, you're correct, sir. But tonight, there's a lot going on, and we're 3.5 hours into it. I'm not saying you're wrong.
I'm done, I just want to make that comment, I'm sorry.
It's been a busy month, but okay. No more discussion unless there's some from the board. Hearing none, I have a motion and a second with conditions. Commissioner Doster, it's on you, sir.
Yes.
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 No.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That is all the rezones for tonight. Now we still have. All right. Old business, consider a contract with Carter and Sloop for a water feasibility study.
So Dennis and I and the county surveyor, Mr. Terry Harvin, met with Carter and Sloop last week. We discussed the scope of work, the timeline, and then Mr. Eric DC is gonna be our main point of contact with the, study. And our council worked very closely on back and forth meeting the requirements that council felt comfortable with the contract.
All right, and this is not for a vote tonight, this is to consider, this is for a vote tonight. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
Since I was part of the group, is it okay if I make?
I think so, sir.
I make a motion that we accept this proposal. And I will say I was impressed with the two gentlemen that they sent down, and the credentials they presented.
Motion by Commissioner Adams. Second by Commissioner Doster. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Commissioner Adams.
Yes.
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 All right. Consider vendor contract for the Recreation Department. This contract is the same as it was the last time. There was some verbiage change that Mr. Pruitt had requested and or advised be changed. It has been corrected, but nothing in the contract has been changed. So with that being said.
Performance clause in there. You mentioned that.
No, I'm sorry, what?
He mentioned that performance clause.
Performance clause, what is that?
If something works, if they're not satisfied.
Oh, yes.
With the service provided, the opportunity to make a change.
This is a contract for vendors when it comes to the rec department and sell things that we get a percentage and kind of all those rules that contract that they sign.
Like food trucks and things like that. This is not for T-shirts, like T-shirts for teams and all like that, correct?
Like jerseys,
Yeah.
This is not a purchasing contract for the department.
Yeah, this is strictly
This is for the food vendors that come to the park.
That come in, kind of ice guy and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and that may be what Terry's referring to, because if you do have a contractor that's not doing an adequate job or horrible service, you want to make sure you can cancel
And there's
it.
a right of refusal.
Okay, so there's a right of refusal. That's what we're looking for.
Somebody, and this is just a question as much as anything else, are food trucks required to have a passing sanitation grade?
Yes.
They are? Is that included in here?
Yeah, that's regulated by the Department of Health. Now, it may be in there that we must have a current one.
Actually, they'd be non-compliant with the state if they didn't have one.
Which they should.
Well,
then you
there's a lot of people now that hooks a grill to the truck and sets a four-way stop. Just saying.
But we shouldn't be hiring those folks either. We shouldn't be hiring those
Well,
folks.
Danielsville makes you purchase a business license.
But we shouldn't, we don't have a business license. We should not just hire anybody to come up to the rec department that's got a grill behind the thing. I mean, for private stuff, they can do that. I mean, it shouldn't happen.
Agreed. It cuts into
And that's
our
the same way with T-shirt vendors and all that. You know, we got some T-shirt vendors that I have questions about, that they're running business out of their house, that they have, and some of that creates conflict. So we need to look at that, but that can be discussed at a later time.
Agreed, sir, but you do have a valid point on business license. So with that being said, I'll entertain a motion to accept the current contract.
Second motion.
Motion by Commissioner May, second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen? Other than we've already had. Hearing none, Commissioner Adams.
Yes.
New business, none. Urgent matters, none. Executive session, thank you, sir. Derek Doster, item number 9. Thank you all, gentlemen, for a 3.5-hour marathon.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. But yes, I need to talk to you.
I got to be up on the campus.
So, Board of Commissioners, quickly, my phone's blowing up. Do we want to close the courthouse tomorrow or not? Alan, you're keeping up with the
I
weather?
was gonna say, thank you for
Thank you all.
They're all saying the school is canceled, we don't have babysitters, so they're all saying.
Madison County close too?
Yes.